Baseball can turn any game into an historic achievement and makes any player a hero. Last night, Carlos Gomez grabbed the spotlight by hitting for the cycle, one of the rarest single-game accomplishments that exists. And it wasn't his first. Today, the Rangers hope to extend the celebration into a series win. Welcome to Rangers Baseball, presented by AT. It's a gorgeous Sunday afternoon as we cap a long homestand of 10 games. This, the final game, and the rubber game, if you will, in this series with the Angels from Los Angeles. We welcome you inside Globe Life Park. Great to be with you, everybody. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nikowski. This is the final game of the series, a chance to win the series. Yesterday, a great victory by the Rangers, but the star of the show was Carlos Gomez with the cycle.
A big night for him last night. Not only the cycle, but it was done on his son's birthday. He said he wanted to do something special. He certainly did. Let's take a look at this cycle last night from Carlos Gomez. It started off in the first inning, the double down the left field line, a ball that was down. He's been very good on balls that are down. Lost his shoe along the way, almost fell because of it. Carlos certainly happy with the double. Then it was the single in the third inning, and this almost turned into a fielder's choice, but Carlos was able to beat it out. Nomar Mazara got to second on time. And then the triple, just out of the reach of Mike Trout, the great center fielder for the Angels. Carlos certainly very excited about it, but the big blow came in the seventh inning on a fastball up that he hit out the Greens Hill. A big night. Yes, the second time, as Carlos Gomez reminded us a few times as he went on the bases, that he has hit a cycle in the big leagues.
Now, we mentioned they are historic, just the 10th in Rangers history. Got to go back a couple of years to the last one, Adrian Beltre. Although already now 3 this year in the big leagues as he joins Trey Turner and Will Myers. So the Rangers with a chance today to win this series. They need a victory, and they're going to do it against a guy they've seen in relief before, but never as a starter, J.C. Ramirez.
Yeah, J.C. Ramirez just making his 4th start at the big league level. This is a guy who went through camp as a starter when he started the season for the Angels, and last year was a reliever, but there was a need because Garrett Richards has gone down. Ramirez has got a very good slider, as you see it there, but it is also a live mid to upper 90s fastball with a lot of movement. There's been an opportunity for him with all the injuries that they have had here in Los Angeles in that rotation. This guy is very good. He'll be a handful for the Rangers today.
All right, well, the Rangers will counter with Martin Perez. Always good here at home, and especially against the Angels.
Yeah, you certainly like to have that comfort zone and knowing that you've been successful against a certain team, especially at your home ballpark. For Martin, I think the bigger picture for him this year, the walks have been a little bit higher. He's talked about it. He wants to be in the strike zone a little bit more. Also, that opponent's batting average against is up over 300. So less hits, less walks, I think the goal today for Martin Perez.
All right, last night, it wasn't just Carlos Gomez, Nomar Mazara, Rougned Odor, the 2, 3, and 4 spots in the order. 6 for 11, scoring runs, driving them in. And they'll try to do it again this afternoon to wrap up this homestand. a Simpson sky, as you like to call it. Beautiful Sunday afternoon here at Globe Life Park. Boys ready to go. Final game on this 10-game homestand. A chance to win this series. They'll try to do so behind Martin Perez for a little more on the starting left-hander. Let's check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, David, it seems with Martin Perez, when he's had his inconsistencies, they usually come in the form of a big inning. In fact, 8 of the 11 runs he's given up this season have come in the first or the 5th inning. So it's at the beginning or toward the end of his start. So Jeff Bannister trying to get him to slow things down a little bit. Said Martin is a real go-hard guy. He's trying to instill in him that he doesn't have to drive the car as fast as it can go all the time. Trying to get him to slow things down. Part of that process is having him paired with Robinson Chirinos. There's a certain communication level that's there between those two and a comfort level that they're hoping will translate into his play.
All right, yeah, thanks, Emily. And those two paired up today. And the lineup that they will see from the Angels. And by the way, the Angels come in 13 wins, 13 losses, and still very pleased with the way things have started for Mike Scioscia's team. Yunel Escobar, Cole Calhoun, and Mike Trout at the top of the order. The guy who's been driving in runs all season and all career. Albert Pujols batting cleanup. Marte getting a start there, batting 5th. Martin Maldonado does the catching and bats 9th for the Angels this afternoon.
And you see Martin Perez and the pitch arsenal that he'll be featuring today. Really what he's featured so far this season. The two-seam fastball is the pitch that he uses the most. As a left-hander, will be throwing that pitch away, trying to induce weak contact. That's kind of the goal. The changeup is the next go-to for Martin, and we'll see that slider and curveball as well featured against the lefties.
Well, Martin getting back at it, his 6th start of the year.
And the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by the Texas Department of Transportation. Delano DeShields, now it's 4th straight start that he's getting in the outfield. You mentioned it earlier, Robinson Chirinos behind the plate. Some new faces. Ryan Rua back out at first base after Mike Napoli was out there last night.
And DeShields continues to get the starts in left field, which we'll be interested to see how that continues to evolve.
Yeah, he had good at-bats. I thought he looked good out there. He had, of course, the issue he had last night in left field. He ended up dropping a fly ball. Could have been costly, but it ended up not being the case. Got bailed out by Matt Bush, finishing off that inning, keeping Mike Trout in the dugout, which is always an ideal situation if you can do that. But he's been good. The at-bats have been really good. The walks have been there. Even yesterday, some good contact, even though he had not gotten on those first couple of at-bats. So I think Delano DeShields has earned that playing time, as we know, and certainly Jeff Bannister comfortable giving it to him and letting him lead off the top of the lineup.
So we're set to go this afternoon. Bill Miller will be our plate umpire today. He's also the crew chief. Kerwin Danley, Todd Tishner, Adam Hamari around the bases, 1st to 3rd. There's Bill Miller. Veteran big league umpire, and he says, let's go. Escobar's in with his .225 batting average, and Martin Perez gets us going with ball 1. 66 degrees at game time today. Maybe a smidge warmer than we were actually expecting. Yesterday, I wouldn't say it was chilly yesterday. It was flat out cold at times.
It was cold yesterday, and compared to Friday, right? It's a Texas spring all of a sudden where you get a little bit of that humidity sneaks in once in a while, and then all of a sudden a day later it's a cool, beautiful spring day.
Perez ahead here 1-2 on Escobar. Escobar, you might remember, started this 3-game series on Friday night by swinging at the very first pitch he saw from Nick Martinez and hitting it out of the ballpark. It's this ball hard down the right field line, but foul.
It's a good start for Martin Perez too, to see him. You look at that 1-2 count. It's been a little bit of an issue for him. He's only thrown 43% of the batters that he's faced where he's gotten 2 strikes within 3 pitches. That's near the bottom in the American League, so that's certainly an area where he can improve a little bit.
2-2 on Escobar. Now Martin Perez, one of the things when you go back and you look at the previous 5 starts this year, one of the things that stands out, he's allowed 3 or fewer in all but 1 start. And so for the walks, whatever the case, he's managed to limit the damage in terms of runs. And a high pop-up will be our first out this afternoon.
Well, I think you bring up a really good point, because that is something we have seen from Martin, and he knows it. He's got himself into a little bit of trouble, but he's really battled and made big pitches when he's had to. He's gotten himself out of trouble. I think we've seen that really consistently throughout this Rangers rotation, where guys have done a really good job. Yu Darvish on fire with that yesterday after walking the bases loaded and getting himself out of it. Cole Hamels has been working himself out of trouble when he's been there, which hasn't been too often. But yeah, these guys have battled. Martin has certainly been one of those guys that has done it. Get yourself in a little bit of trouble, make a pitch, get yourself out.
Now the left-handed hitting Cole Calhoun, and Cole the only left-handed hitter in the lineup. Danny Espinosa, a switch hitter who will also bat from the right-hand side today. So just the one lefty. And it is 2-0. But here's the thing about the left-handed hitters, and I've asked you this off the air in the last couple of weeks, and it's so early, the numbers I guess maybe are meaningless, but left-handed hitters so far this year have really done a very good job against Martin Perez. They're hitting .444.
Yeah, and so I think sometimes you make the assumption that you want to get all of your righties and switch hitters in a lineup against the lefty, but not necessarily the case with Martin.
That one just gets through Rua, and then the throw back to first from Odor. Fortunately backed up by Chirinos. Calhoun is on, and that is an error on Ryan Rua.
Yeah, it'll go down as an error. The ball was hit hard, but yes, right through Ryan Rua's legs, and it's just a short, quick, fast one hopper. But you see Rougned Odor thinking he may have a play. That's good heads up by Martin Perez to continue to cover the back. A lot of times a pitcher will start to run over there. As soon as they see the error, they stop. Martin was at least there. Would have taken a pretty great play to make that happen, but good heads up by him to continue on to first base.
So now he has to deal with the base runner and Mike Trout. One thing about Martin Perez is he has been very adept in his career in getting ground balls and getting out of innings with that double play. Now this guy he hits a lot of line drives.
Does Mike Trout. Not an easy right-hander to double up, even for the left-hander Martin Perez. But if he can get that changeup or even that two-seam fastball far enough below the zone, we know Trout's a good low ball hitter. That would certainly give him a chance.
You see the ranks in the American League for Trout so far, and yeah, I mean those are very good numbers. He's also third with 7 home runs. He's 7th in the league with 18 RBIs. Has 9 doubles, 2 triples. So he's done pretty much everything per usual, and it's a 2-1 count here.
Trout has grounded into 2 double plays already this year, just 5 all of last year at 681 plate appearances, to give you an idea how difficult he is to double up.
Yeah, partly because he runs real well. The good news is he hits the ball hard enough. He should give you a little extra time.
Hey, just hope, of course, that it goes at somebody. Is kind of the key. Is Martin Perez keeping an eye on Cole Calhoun, who is a good runner over there at first base.
Rangers have had a tough time with him so far this year, as you can see. 10 for 18 with good power. And that's a foul ball. 2-2. One thing I would say is if folks sitting on that third base side today, maybe behind the dugout and deeper down that line, don't have your gloves.
It's a good day for it, especially when Mike Trout is up there, and even for Albert Pujols. When you watch Martin Perez throw his 4-seam fastball, it's got some cut to it. So that means that ball starts to come in a little bit to those right-handed hitters. And yes, if they're out front, if the hands are quick, they'll be hitting some line drives that are foul today.
2-2, and that ball is lined into left field. So Trout with a base hit. Calhoun stops at second. And the Angels building a little bit in this first inning.
This was a pitch that was away after Martin Perez saw the foul ball, decides to go with changeup. Mike Trout does a good job staying back. This guy's so good. Look at the balance, right? The head doesn't go forward, the hands stay back. Even Well, he might have been slightly sees that pitch a little bit slower out of the hands of Martin Perez. Everything continues to stay balanced and in sync for Mike Trout. Part of what makes him a great hitter.
So now Pujols leading the league with 22 RBIs. And he's got Calhoun at second, Trout at first, and Martin will step off. Outside of the RBI numbers for Pujols, not a spectacular line for him. But he does have that knack. Yeah, among active players, pretty good. You might even say maybe one of the more dangerous guys you're going to face.
Without a doubt, the power is still there. We still see him taking great at bats. This is a guy who's signed up and through 2021 with the Angels. And you just, between both of them, you start to wonder where can they finish on the all-time ranks between Mike Trout, who obviously has a long way to go, but also Albert Pujols when you start looking at the home runs and the RBIs.
Well, he's already, in a very small group, roughly top 20 or so in pretty much every category. And Martin Perez and Robbie Chirinos talked some things over. 3-time MVP.
But he's going to get to 700, right? I mean, if he's healthy.
Yeah,
70+ home runs the last 2 years, right? You think about, you see where he is on the RBIs. Without a doubt, he's going to have a shot to get near the top. But you can't help but wonder a little bit, how far can he go? He could pass Alex Rodriguez, who was 696. I think it's reasonable as far as the length of his contract. Health is everything with him, right? He's dealt with that plantar fasciitis. He did have surgery on it in December. It's always been an issue for him. But you just wonder, he's in an American League, right? Obviously, so the DH helps. Does he have Babe Ruth in him? Does he have 714? It's not that far away. What's he, 118 away?
It's not that far away, but there have been a lot of guys who've had great careers and gotten this far. And I mean, it's tough. You gotta keep holding on. And as great a player as he is, and Lord knows he's one of the best we'll have ever seen. He is getting older. He's 37 years old. He's had a lot of trouble with that plantar fasciitis in his foot, and that is a really nagging kind of thing. You mentioned the surgery, and you hope for his sake that he's able to just kind of continue on in good health. But it is tough. Body doesn't respond anymore at that age as he draws a walk and the bases are loaded.
You heard Emily talk about it in the open as far as Martin Perez trying to stay away from the big inning. Doug Brocail now out to talk to Martin Perez, and yes, he's still in that position where he could be one pitch away from getting himself out of it. But when you talk about the big inning, you talk about managing it, right, and not letting it overwhelm you. And bases loaded, 1 out, it's a pretty decent chance that the Angels are going to score a run in this inning. Yes, a double play can get you out of it, but what's most important is that you manage it and you don't try to do too much, and somehow all of a sudden the floodgates open and you turn it into a 3 or 4 run inning. And that's what this has become about here for Martin Perez, is managing this bases loaded 1 out situation, 1 pitch at a time. As cliche as it is so important to be able to think that way and not start thinking big and trying to strike a guy out on the first pitch of an at-bat.
Well, runners everywhere at the moment for him. And the first inning has been a bit of a trouble spot for Perez. You look at the 11 runs allowed this year by Perez. 5 of them have come in the first inning. And he's in a spot right here. Calhoun third, Trout second, Pujols at first. And it is 1-1. Now Marte has the start today at first base. You see the road has not been very kind to him. He has hit into 1 double play this year, but it's just 15 at bats. Perez could use that ground ball here, and he gets a soft liner to second. Odor will grab it, go to the bag, and that will do the inning. So doesn't always have to be a ground ball.
A rare base running mistake for Mike Trout, who did not know where Rougned Odor was.
Inning over. Here come the Rangers.
The Angels scoring no runs in that first inning despite the fact that they had the bases loaded. Let's take a look at this now with Mike Trout. This is kind of a surprise. Now usually Rougned Odor is going to be right over here. That's kind of standard for the second base, but you have to believe that Mike Trout saw Rougned Odor. So one of two things either happened. He either lost track of how many outs there were, or he just kind of assumed that Odor was a little bit more in the hole, because Mike Trout is an excellent base runner. Now, he might have been thinking that ball was over Odor's head. That's another possibility. He wanted to score. So he's thinking, I got to get off the bag as quickly as I can. A couple different possibilities there, but very surprising to see Mike Trout just run right into that double play. Great break for the Rangers.
Yeah, that's a huge ending to that top of the first. And now DeShields starting things off in the bottom of the first. Delano at 250, but has been doing a fabulous job of getting on base since he has been slotted in that leadoff spot. He was ahead here 2-0. Looking back at that thing, to me, there's no question that he just lost track of the outs.
I think so.
And I know that Mike Trout can't possibly have made a mistake. But I think that's what happened, because the ball wasn't hit hard enough. It's not like that thing was a rocket and then he thought, oh, that's an automatic base hit. Yeah. He had to be thinking, 2 outs, I'm going.
I guess that's probably the most reasonable explanation. And like I said, based on where he was standing on second base and where Odor was, there's no way he didn't know where he was playing, right? Sometimes guys will get caught in that spot. As you see Delano draw the 4-pitch leadoff walk. Jeff Bannister's got to be thrilled about that. But that's the only real logical explanation. There's no way. Sometimes you forget maybe where a fielder is playing, but when you're standing on second base, like the shortstop, maybe that's reasonable.
Right.
You forgot to look over your shoulder. Where is he? Not necessarily the second baseman.
A break, no matter how you slice it, for the Rangers, and then a great start here with DeShields taking that walk, and now very much a threat to run at any time. And J.C. Ramirez, in his career, primarily reliever, has never held runners well. And there goes Delano. And the pitch is a strike. The throw way off target, and DeShields with his 5th stolen base of the year.
It's almost like Martin Maldonado knew exactly what was going to be coming here, because there wasn't much of an effort. He knows how quick Delano is. As we watch him, see get a pretty good jump here, but it's the great speed from Delano to Shields. Andrelton Simmons trying to sell it, but look at Martin Maldonado knowing, I got to throw this ball from my knees. I got to give it everything I have, and even with that, it's a bad sell job by Simmons right there. See, Andrelton Simmons trying to make Delano DeShields believe that that ball went in the outfield. He's probably laughing about it too, because his jog is like legs got wide, looked a little bit awkward. We know what a great shortstop Andrelton Simmons is, but Delano not falling for that. Maybe not a great actor.
DeShields out there at second. A 2-strike pitch to Mazzara, and it's low. Nomar 239, 4 homers, 18 RBIs. Yesterday did drive in a run. Put an end to an 0 for 13 last night. That's a long look from Ramirez. And I mentioned earlier, he has not had a lot of success in his career containing the opposition's running game. And I do think that that's going to be a part of the attack today for the Rangers. They know that. They have been aggressive on the bases this early part of the season. If they get the opportunity, I think they're running on him, and he strikes out Mazzara, 1 away. All right, let's take a look at our Southwest starting lineup for the Rangers. You've already seen DeShields and Mazzara. Gomez, after the cycle last night, batting 3rd. No shocker there. The door cleanup again. Elvis Andrus has just crushed the Angels this season. Gallo, Choo, Rua, and then Robinson Chirinos, who does the catching today for Martin Perez.
How about Elvis? So he's hitting 5th today, so that now makes 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Has not hit 1st yet, has not hit 3rd.
It's coming.
And he will have the entire, I mean, almost got it before April was finished, which would have been pretty incredible.
Tells you a lot of things, right? Tells you, how versatile and talented he is, and it also tells you how Jeff Bannister has continued to move around and try and find that combination that will really get things going for this offense.
Ooh. Well, I think one of the things with today's player especially is they understand that there's going to be more moving around the lineup than, say, maybe in years past, and they're open to it, and certainly Elvis hasn't had an issue with it. And it becomes important because you want to be able to move your lineup around. It used to be, put a guy in a spot, let him sit there and let him get comfortable and don't mess with him too much. But we're past that era now. That is no longer. I'll show you what J.C. Ramirez will be featuring here today. And the fastball is actually a mix. We put them both together, but it'll be a 4- and a 2-seam fastball. But it's the slider that he uses the most. The curveball is actually new for him. He was pretty much a 2-pitch pitcher as a reliever. The Angels told him this past offseason, come into spring training, be ready to go through as a starter. So he added a curveball. Mike Sosa said it's a pretty good curveball. It's certainly a very usable curveball at the big league level. But they felt the curveball, with him starting to kind of practice getting that really big tilt on the breaking ball, that the slider got better in the process. So it is predominantly fastball, and it's a good fastball. Command isn't great, but the movement on it's pretty solid. But fastball sliders, which you see a lot of today.
Another base hit for Gomez. DeShields going to be waved, and Maben struggles to pick up the baseball. 1-0 Rangers on the Gomez RBI single.
Well, I don't think Cameron Maben had much of a shot to throw out Delino DeShields anyway, as we see the really nice balance swing here for Carlos Gomez, and a little bit of the back flip down. He is locked in and feeling it right now. And actually, I take that back, because Delino was actually pulling up at third base, and he was not going to attempt to score until they saw this right here, and that bobble. Cameron Maben struggled to pick that baseball up, so that should go down as an error.
Yeah, it did. It's single and error, no RBI for Gomez. Although it's interesting because Delino was definitely going to stop, but it looked, I thought, that Beasley was waving him the whole time.
Might have been where he was using his own instinct. Now, when it's all said and done, yes, you would like your players to follow everything your third base coach tells you to do, but sometimes it's also a feel, right? You see guys run through the stop sign, and for some reason the guy feels like he maybe doesn't get a great jump off of second, or maybe feels like he sees something else and there's some hesitation there. Sometimes they will pull up. You don't want your guys doing that, but it does happen sometimes.
So no RBI for Gomez. DeShields scoring on the error.
Let's take a look. Yeah, you mentioned Tony Beasley waving Delino. Yeah, you see Delino, he went completely turned around, and the reason that he did that was probably because it was that line drive. You don't want to get doubled up, and so you got to be a little bit careful. That makes total sense. He wasn't confident that the ball was getting completely over Andrelton Simmons' head, and so maybe that's why there was a little bit more of a pause there.
Well, now it'll be interesting to see when and if Gomez takes off during Odor's at bat. Rugi in at 194 today, 4 home runs, 13 RBIs, and it's 1-1. Odor, part of that stretch in the order last night that was so productive. The 2, 3, and 4 spots, Mazara, Gomez, and Odor combined went 6 for 11. Everybody, at least all 3 of them, scored a run. All 3 of them drove in at least 1 run.
It's always nice to see big production in the middle of your lineup. That's why those guys are there. That's what you anticipate from them. Maybe not 6 for 11 every time, but certainly those are the guys that you expect to do the heavy lifting.
Gomez with a good lead, and he'll continue to occupy the attention of Ramirez. Ramirez almost uncorked one there.
Well, as hard as he throws and as much movement as he has on his fastball, when you're a first baseman and he turns and he's actually trying to pick a guy off first and airing it out a little bit, that could be a little unsettling for Jeffrey Marte.
2 balls and a strike on Odor. Yeah, I would say so. And gets over to first in a hurry. Odor with a home run yesterday. He hit it right off the foul pole. And that means free Chick-fil-A sandwiches for folks. Runner going, and this one gets away from Maldonado. Another stolen base. Gomez with his 3rd of the year.
the Texas Rangers base runners doing a really nice job of putting some pressure on Martin Maldonado. We know he's got a great arm. We'll take a look at the pitch here. But Maldonado's trying to hurry. Now, this is on a slider as well, so he knows that it's got to be quick. But because Ramirez does not hold runners on, that's a great jump by Carlos Gomez. You put extra pressure on that catcher to try to get that exchange, that pop time, make it all happen a lot faster. The Rangers doing an excellent job, as you see where they rank in the American League.
This one off the handle, and that's a base hit. Gomez around third. The throw to the plate is high, and they got him. Good job by Maldonado to bring that down. Calhoun's throw looked like it might just about get away.
This ended up being a gun by Cole Calhoun. You're going to see the tag here. The throw was a little bit high, but I thought when it first came out of his hand, it looked like it went up the line a little bit more as well. But you see the pitch here from Ramirez. The slider that was in. Odor does a nice job getting that ball into the outfield, and I thought Gomez was going to score easily, but that was a missile by Cole Calhoun. That ball actually had some really nice carry on it at the end as Gomez tries the head first slide but cannot get there in time.
So base hit for Odor. He's at second base on the throw. A real nice play by Cole Calhoun. 2 away. And now Andrus at 283. And he pops this one up. Calhoun with plenty of time to get underneath it. And the inning is over. The Rangers will have to settle for the 1 run on a couple of hits, a couple of stolen bases. But they leave a man. And we go to the second. 1-0 Rangers. On top early, and our Kubota power stats today are concerning that man right there, Martin Perez, who worked around a bases loaded jam. Look at this, a .221 batting average against. Rangers starters have been really stingy that way.
They've done an excellent job, no doubt about it. And the starting rotation has been pretty solid here for the Rangers throughout. That opponent batting average against them. But people talk about batting average and say, is it becoming a little bit more of a disputed stat? I say no, especially when you're talking about your starting rotation. These are the guys that are seeing the most hitters, and keeping that number down means guys are not squaring you up. I mentioned it earlier. I think in the case of Martin Perez, there's some room for improvement for him, but overall the staff has done really, really well.
Well, he goes against Andrelton Simmons here, and Simmons jumps ahead 3-0. Perez did walk Pujols in the first inning, and that has been an issue. Martin came in with 15 walks, 4th most in the American League. That's 3-1. Simmons, Espinosa, and Maben, the 6, 7, and 8 hitters. Key for Martin in that first inning, once again, was though he dealt with a lot of traffic, he never did allow anybody to get to home plate as he put Simmons on with a walk. And we kind of talked about that. If batting average is not the number, right, that's still somewhat relevant, but maybe less so. I mean, on base percentage continues to be a very big marker. From the standpoint of evaluating a pitcher, do you go whip? What is a number that stands out most to you?
It all depends on the guy. I think that you got to look at the pitcher and say, what kind of pitcher is he, right? If he's a sinker ball pitcher, then I don't care necessarily about his strikeouts, right? Strikeouts matter to some degree. Swing and miss matters a little bit more when you're looking, I think, at your relievers. I care about ground ball rate, depending on, again, what kind of pitcher it is. Again, looking at a guy, say, that has a good two-seam fastball, what's going to happen with those guys is the walk rate's not going to be great. More often than not, when you have good movement on your fastball and you're trying to induce those ground balls, the walk rate has a tendency to creep up a little bit. So it all depends for me on the repertoire of the guy. Whip is certainly a good one. You take the walks and the hits, but even the hits to some degree can be dependent on the defense. So I like strikeout rate, I like walk rate, but that doesn't necessarily mean if you have a bad walk rate that you're a bad starter, depending on your repertoire. So you got to dig in a little bit more, I guess. Ultimately, it's kind of the answer there when you're talking about evaluation of pitchers.
1-1, and this ball hit hard out to left field. DeShields, though, is there. And there is the first out of the inning. Simmons stays at first. It'll bring up Cameron Maybin, and it's time now for our Coors Banquet timeless moment. We're getting the Wayback Machine. Celebrating an anniversary today, Rick Honeycutt threw a 5-hit shutout against the Royals, and it was the 4th consecutive shutout for the Rangers, which is a franchise record. That's a pretty good run, no matter what franchise you're talking about. Little bunt by Maybin. That one died nicely. Chirinos takes care of him, and there are 2 gone. Simmons does get to second base.
Well, this was all about a bunt for a hit. So Cameron Maybin not pleased with what happened with this bunt. He deadened the ball almost too much. It would have been a fantastic sacrifice bunt. When you're bunting for a hit, though, you want to put a little bit more on this. Watch this ball here. Just kind of most likely catch the end of the bat. Yep, there it is. And then it's just going to die as soon as it hits out in front of home plate. Even spin back a little bit. Robinson Chirinos does a great job of hopping out. It's got plenty of time. Wasn't tempted to throw that ball to second. That goes in the back of your mind just a little bit. If you're an over-aggressive catcher, Maldonado may have done that. A guy like Wilson Contreras with the Cubs is pretty aggressive. Sure. He may have tried to get that out at second base, but the veteran Robinson Chirinos does a nice job of taking the out at first base.
Yeah, I think too. You know, and I always wonder how much factors into guys thinking in that spot, but that's the 8th place hitter with the 9-hitter coming. You know, making it 2 outs in the inning, that has to factor in a little bit.
It should. There's a lot going on, and sometimes your brain will go a little bit fast, but Robinson Chirinos certainly locked in as he's thinking along and thinking about scouting reports and pitching reports and what he wants to do against each hitter. He should be pretty aware that his counterpart Martin Maldonado was on deck.
Maldonado hitting .237, 3 RBIs so far this year for him. He started Friday's game and had a base hit in the 3rd inning. Was 1 for 4. I want an appeal on that one, and he did not go, according to Kerwin Danley. So after Maldonado, back up to the top of the order for the Angels, and they've had some trouble scoring runs lately. The offense has not clicked in the last couple of weeks, while the starting pitching really fell into quite a groove for them. It seems to be the curse of just about every team. I don't know why it always seems like that to me, CJ. You know, you hear every team talking about, wow, if we could just get all the phases going at once.
It would be ideal, and that's why you wonder for the Angels, is there an opportunity for them to maybe go on a run if they can get all of those things working together at the same time. They've had some challenges in their rotation, but they have met those challenges with guys that they have filled in. Guys like Ramirez, as Martin Maldonado asked that napkin now be removed from the front of the mound. It's a little bit of a windy day here, so Martin Perez was kind enough to pick it up and put it in his back pocket. But yeah, it's a perfect scenario. Get everything going at once is kind of ideal. I think that's why there's some optimism on the side of the Angels.
3-1 now to Maldonado. I mean, the Rangers right now saying the exact same thing. Remember, they were scoring runs like crazy early. The bullpen was struggling, and so they're not winning nearly as many games as they should have in the first couple of weeks. Then the offense really cooled down. The starting pitching went crazy, and it's in a nice little groove. Full count now on Maldonado, and so I really do think every team says it at various junctures of the season. Like, man, if we could just get everybody going at once, sure would be fun.
Well, when you have built a roster that can contend, that's what the expectations are. It's health, first of all. And then, of course, like you said, getting production from everybody the way that you would expect. It doesn't always work out that way. In fact, rarely does.
And at second, 2 out. Payoff pitch. Ooh, look good, but that one misses, and Maldonado is on, and that is 3 walks now for Martin Perez.
I think Martin Perez wanted this pitch, and this fastball was a pretty good one. Saw it at 95 miles an hour, had some pretty good life, but it ended up cutting on him just a little bit. Bill Miller saw it as down.
So now Escobar. 225 average. He does have a little pop though, and he hits this ball hard out to left, but DeShield's right there, so that'll do it. Angels again strand a couple. We played an inning and a half. 1-0 Rangers. Joey Gallo leading off when we come back. Nothing Rangers. We go to the bottom of the second inning, and our next Throwback Thursday will be May 11th. Rangers and Padres. First 10,000 fans get a Papa John's Texas Rangers Throwback Thursday collector pin. A pin commemorating Yu Darvish as the 2013 American League Strikeout champion. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or call 972 Rangers. Gallo sending a souvenir back our direction, and it is 1-1 on Joey.
Boy, our section really let us down on that one.
Did that bounce out?
Yes. They blew it.
After about 5 people touched it. Disappointing. 1-2.
Because I kind of feel like the section in front of us, like they're kind of our people, right?
Well, absolutely.
We count on them, and they're part of the group. And they had a chance, and they really let us down.
Gallo hits a hot shot through into right field. Base hit. And then the lead man on in the second inning. So that's 3 hits and a walk in the very early going here against Ramirez.
Joey Gallo continues, as you see the slider that's down over the plate, but just continues his nice start here to the season, a really nice April. Got to imagine this past offseason, he didn't even imagine he'd be getting as much playing time as he has, filling in, of course, for Adrian Beltre, but tremendous adjustments that he continues to make, and the comfort and the confidence for Joey Gallo continues to show.
Not a real big lead for him, but he'll draw a throw.
We got to believe Ramirez is thinking everyone's running right now, and it could even be Joey Gallo, who is sneaky fast. You look at his size, and you certainly can't sleep on him, but he did not have much of a lead there.
I wouldn't be at all surprised to see him running in this at bat. And that one, not a pitch out, but served pretty much the same purpose.
That was a breaking ball where Ramirez just slowed down on it, kind of telegraphed it. We mentioned that's a new pitch for him, and one that they felt has been pretty effective. It's interesting. You see him gripping the ball right there. He actually starts every time with a split finger kind of change up.
This ball hit well right field. Calhoun is back, and he makes the play. One away.
Fans, every weekday morning, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. Undisputed with Skip and Shannon, weekdays from 8:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Central, only on FS1. I want to finish that thought real quick on Ramirez. So you watch him kind of playing with the ball and be digging with it, and he puts the split finger grip in his hand. It's how he starts, even though it's a pitch that he actually doesn't really throw. You won't see much of a changeup out of him. But he knows that if he's going to throw it, he would be giving it away if he tried to dig in and get that grip after he puts the ball in his glove. See it right there? See that split grip? We may not see a split finger all day, but that's just where his comfort level is when he's starting his delivery.
Ryan Rule, 189 average, a home run, 4 driven in. Were you when you pitched, did you have any little trick like that to avoid that sort of thing?
I actually did the same exact thing. Now I did throw kind of a split, not a full split finger, what they call the fosh, which is kind of an in-betweener.
Runner going, and a swinging miss. Gallo hit by the throw. And that one didn't feel good, but he does have the steal, his 4th of the year.
Well, again, you see Martin Maldonado absolutely have to rush to try to get this throw off, and because of it, the throw is in the dirt and offline. It looked like it caught Joey Gallo, maybe left rib cage. As you see him react right afterwards, see the jump there. Watch the throw, it'll come in, one bounce and kind of catch him. Look like on his left side. Get a better look right here. Yep, there it is, right under the armpit a little bit, which does not tickle when it's a baseball thrown by Martin Maldonado.
Oh, and then it looked like did you see the cleat come across and maybe get a piece of his left hand too? Watch his left hand and then watch right. Yeah. I know he had a look on his face afterward.
Might have been his right hand too, though. His right hand hit Anderson Simmons' foot. All kinds of stuff going on there for Joey Gallo. So he earned that stolen base and sacrificed a little bit of his body to do it.
He's 4 for 4 in stolen base attempts this year. And the Rangers have taken 3 already against J.C. Ramirez.
Now to finish that point, as far as why does he do it? Why did I do it? If you have a pitch that requires a little bit more work to kind of get the grip the way that you want it, you're better off starting off with that grip, because if it takes a lot of work as you put that ball back in your glove, that's where pitch tipping starts to happen, right? We sit there and start to jiggle that hand around a little bit too much, and opposing hitters can pick up on it.
Slow roller, third base. Escobar with time. Just gets Rua. Rua made that a lot closer than I think Escobar was anticipating. 2 away, though.
Let's watch this right here. Not much of a stretch at all. Jeffrey Marte, I don't know what he was doing there. That stretch is supposed to happen once the ball's in the air, not as you're catching the ball. Right, a good first baseman, good footwork. Once that ball's in the air, you step toward that ball, you lunge. As he's getting loose now, I guess, apparently not quite stretched yet. Get the legs loose, but you think about guys like, I don't know, like Mark Teixeira or whatever. Some of these guys that would do the splits.
Right.
That was the exact opposite of lunging long for a ball.
Well, now Chirinos. Gallo moved over to third base on the play, but 2 out now. And Chirinos hitting .364 with 4 home runs and 9 driven in. And really everything he has done at the plate has been fantastic. 1-1 the count. It's time now for our Shiner Light Blonde Spotlight. Makes a good paella. You might have seen, and him will be inside the show. And very active in his home country of Venezuela. Very good charity. And he has a lot of guys who come and help him out at the off season, donate their time. Chirinos, we've said it before, and it's one of those things where you have to get to know a person, but he is truly one of the really genuinely great people you'll meet in the game, and guys absolutely drawn to him. They would do anything for him, and they do, and his foundation in the offseason. It's this ball in the air left field. Maben back, but appears to have plenty of room. And so the Rangers leave a man at third after 2 innings. 1-0. We go to the third. Time now for the Unlimited Baseball Break, brought to you by T-Mobile. The Dodgers with a crazy comeback last night against the Phillies with a back-to-back home runs. Aaron Judge continues to tear it up for the Yankees, a rookie record with 10 bombs in April. And Adam Eaton, that was big news for the Nationals. Out for the season with a torn ACL and gashed up meniscus, right? Or MCL? What else happened to him?
MCL as well, or meniscus as well. Yeah, that's some bad news for the Washington Nationals. They're pretty deep in their lineup, and Trey Turner's going to slide into that leadoff spot, who's a very good leadoff hitter and has got some great speed. So obviously it's not great news for the Nationals, but they are a team that is deep enough that maybe somehow, some way, they will be able to overcome it. Michael Taylor now will get more time for them in center field. This is a team that legitimately believes they have a chance to contend, and they absolutely do. But that's big news for them. They gave up a lot to get Adam Eaton for the White Sox this past offseason.
This one lifted to center field. Gomez angling back. That thing carrying well, and it is out of here. A home run for Calhoun. And he has tied the game 1-1. And he's having a ball game so far. He's cut down a run at the plate, and now ties it up with that bomb.
Yeah, he certainly is. And we know Cole Calhoun has got some power. As you see, this two-seam fastball that Martin Perez really wanted to run in, but it stayed just kind of a little bit too much on that inner third of the plate. Didn't get that real good finish that he wanted. Calhoun was able to get to the barrel to him. When you first saw Carlos Gomez, you thought maybe he had a chance to cut it off, but as soon as he started turning left, you realize that thing had a little bit more carry than he originally thought.
So now Trout, who singled in the first inning. And this one served over first, but slices foul. A 1-1 ball game. Now both teams have had opportunities. Angels had them loaded with one out in the first, but a double play into that threat. This one in the air right field. Mazzara with a kind of a slower start coming in, gets there. One away.
It's a good play by Mazzara. Ruben Odor had probably no chance of getting this ball. He was pretty much played behind second base, and under normal circumstances that might have been potentially a shot and a pop up for him. But look what Odor is actually to the left of second base. That would have been a long run. Omar Mazzara does a nice job of getting there and making that catch.
All right, Albert Pujols. Much better to face him with nobody on base. One and one to count. Got a low average this year. The lower power numbers for Pujols. It's just when he has men out at second or third base, he has been extremely adept at getting them home. Part of the reason, perhaps, while he was walked in the first inning, Perez was not going to give in to him. This ball hit on the ground. Ooh, nice snag by Gallo. Plenty of time to get that throw over, and takes care of Pujols. Two gone. We take a Chevy game break. Send it back to John Radigan. Okay, yeah, thanks, John. One here, little tapper right back to Martin Perez. And that is all for Marte and the Angels in the third. They get the home run by Calhoun. We're tied at 1 to the bottom of the third. Bring your dog to the ballpark on May 13th. Hey, that looks like fun. Rangers and A's. Get your pup dressed up with their best Rangers gear. Participate in a pregame parade around the warning track. Now you need to register in advance. So go to texasrangers.com/bark-at-the-park for tickets and to get your pup registered.
And one dog didn't look that happy. Third from the right. You see, everyone else was pretty excited.
And he was a sad pup?
He looked like he was a little down on the other guys being there, maybe.
Was he dressed up?
Maybe he wasn't. I don't know. I just noticed the sad face. Cheer up. I've never been to the stadium for a bark at the parkus.
Oh.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be quite an event,
yeah.
Huh? There he is. Look, that guy right there. Third from the right. What's his problem?
Oh.
He's got a bow tie. Cheer up.
He's got a bow
tie. No, I've never done it. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest with you. As far as like being in the tent, I love dogs. Does it get a little crazy?
No, actually, it seems like it's always pretty under control. There's some ballparks that let people bring the dogs in seemingly all the time. I want to say Oakland. Who are they stopping from coming in the ballpark in Oakland? But
glad you said it.
Well, here's Delino. Walked, stole a base, scored a run in that first inning.
I couldn't bring my dog to bark at the park. He just would not be well behaved.
Right. No, and I'm in the same boat. My dog would not behave well, so it wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
Some people, their dogs are great though. I mean, they just totally relaxed. As Shields couldn't stop himself there, and a strikeout starts the bottom of the third. All right, let's check in with Emily Jones.
Yep, progressive fan of the game time, and here he is, Jake Goodman. And Jake, tell everyone how you earned the fan of the game.
Basically, what I did was I found her after getting some ice cream for me and my brother. I just gave her a hug, and that's just what happened.
That's all it takes. Give me a hug, fan of the game. There is an age limit to that, by the
way. It's a good disclaimer to get out there, Emily, just in time as they started probably lining up and trying to find you.
Yep, that was a great save. Wow. Now that Jake, he's a good man. That was nicely done. Is now Nomar Mazara. 1-1 to count. Rangers got their run in the first. And Mazara, wow, looked out. 1-2. He may have cracked his bat on that one. Yeah, he's going to go get a new one. So Nomar gets a new stick. He struck out in the first. Final game of this series, Rangers trying to win this one, and in doing so take 2 out of 3 from the Angels, as they did in Anaheim earlier in the month. That ball clubbed foul. That would be good. It would also complete a very good homestand if they're able to win this one today. It would be
7-3
or 7-3.
6-3. Yeah, 6-3 right now. And Jeff Bannister actually mentioned this yesterday. As you sit there and you look at the April and not going exactly the way that the Rangers wanted it to go.
Popped up. Escobar ranging over, and might have been room to make that play. Instead, that gentleman made the play.
And not enough time for Escobar to get over there because of the shift and how far over he was playing. But yeah, if he was playing straight up, he probably has a decent chance of catching that ball, but instead it turns into a souvenir. But as far as what Jeff Bannister was saying, talking about, okay, you know what, didn't go off the greatest start that we wanted. Again, maybe sounds cliche, but at least winning, thinking about winning series, thinking about winning homestands. He knew going into yesterday, if they win that game, they guarantee a winning homestand, and just chipping away a little at a time until the Rangers get back to where they'd like to be.
Mazara down looking, 2 away. It'll bring up Carlos Gomez with 2 out in the inning. Gomez, our TXU Energy power player to watch. How about this homestand for him? OPS over 1,000, 5 extra base hits. Hit for the cycle yesterday, for crying out loud.
He's locked in 5 straight hits now and 5 straight at bats. We know Carlos, how aggressive he is when he's up at the plate, especially on the ball up. He's been really good on the ball down. That home run yesterday, though, was a fastball that was somewhat elevated. Good to see him swinging the bat well, getting some rewards for some hard hit balls.
1-1 to Gomez. Yeah, that was the 3rd cycle this year. Will Myers, Trey Turner. They're not supposed to be that easy. This ball hammered but foul. 1-2 the count on Gomez. Only 10 cycles in Rangers franchise history. 8 of those 10 have happened here at home. Roller to short. Andrelton Simmons as true as they come, and it completes a 1-2-3 inning for Ramirez. Ramirez has retired 6 in a row, and we go to the 4th. Texas Chili Company $1 hot dog night will be Wednesday, May 10th. Rangers and Padres coming out to Globe Life Park. Get some ballpark hot dogs for just $1 each. TexasRangers.com or 972 Rangers. That's the way you do it. Get your tickets. Come on out and see us. And Andrelton Simmons takes a strike to start the 4th inning. Simmons, Danny Espinosa, Cameron Maybin. 6, 7, and 8 hitters. And Perez wasting no time. It's ahead 0-2.
Remember, that was a talk for Martin. And we even heard Emily talking about a little bit with Robinson Chirinos. It's trying to find that balance of not trying to rush, right? That was part of the problem with some of the big innings, but also keeping a really good tempo. He's talked about trying to keep that tempo, keep moving. You know, to 3 straight strikes to Mike Trout, you think that's a guy you want to be a little bit more careful with. In his last at bat, down the pop-up weekly to right field, and here he comes back again with a quick 3-pitch strikeout of Andrelton Simmons.
Well, first of the afternoon for Perez, who's not a big strikeout guy. Well, he'll take that one.
He absolutely will. He tried to elevate, actually ended up being a little bit more middle as far as the height went than they wanted, and looked like maybe Andrelton Simmons was looking for something else, something soft out over the plate, maybe trying to set on that changeup with 2 strikes, or at least being aware of it. But the other thing Martin said after his last start was he's wanting to get deeper in games. You know, 5 or 6 innings, he's not satisfied with that. He'd love to be able to go 7 or 8, and so he knows filling up the strike zone, keeping the innings moving, keeping the pitch count down is going to be essential to making that happen.
Well, so far this afternoon, fairly efficient pitch count for him. Fairly. The 1-0, and there's the swing and a miss. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not like he's thrown 9 pitches in each of the first 3 innings, but
it's the big first one.
Yeah,
was the
big
issue.
First.
Did a really nice job last inning, and so far off to a good start here. We'll see. All it takes is 1 or 2 of those to kind of get that pitch count where you want it, give you a chance to get deep in the game the way Martin would like to.
Bouncer shortstop. Nice Sunday hop for Andrews. 2 away. Well, last night we saw Yu Darvish go as deep as anyone in big league baseball this year. In fact, it was 127 pitches.
125. 125. Fourth highest of his career here in the States.
And it was interesting that, and I can't remember, I like to attribute it to the proper party, but one of the writers pointing out that it's the deepest in terms of pitch count that anyone has gone in the Jeff Bannister era.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they let him work last night and work himself out of a bases loaded jam, which was impressive.
I mean, he had to appreciate that as we take a look at what Yu Darvish did yesterday, because he really started getting himself in some trouble in that last inning. As you see, slider there, slider there. There's another one, good breaking ball down. I mean, everything, good movement from Yu Darvish. His arm's always been live, but looked really good last night. But was so shocking to me was how calm and sure Jeff Bannister was when he decided to leave Yu Darvish in there. There was no pacing. There was no kind of flinching or looking like he might have been second guessing himself. And I'm kind of sitting here going, maybe it's time. He's kind of getting up there in pitch count. He just walked the bases loaded. But no, he felt absolutely confident that Yu Darvish was going to be able to get himself out of that. And for that guy right there, he appreciates it, because that's the culture that he comes from, right? Is pitching deep into games, throwing a lot of pitches. And so he does a fantastic job. And look at that, 0 for with runners in scoring position, getting it done in big spots when it matters the most.
3-1 to Maben, and it's a full count now.
Think Deborah Kell knows any Japanese? I see him over there. No chance, right?
Yeah, if he does, he's just learned it. And it's a couple of words. It's not going to be his strength. 3-2 pitch. Maben stays alive. Darvish, not always, a real chatty guy, but feeling pretty good after yesterday, and he's wearing Bro Kale out right now. I mean, he's going
it's usually the other way around. Yeah. I've known Doug for a long time, and Doug's a great storyteller, great guy to talk with. Usually your pitching coach is the one that's doing most of the talking, not today.
Fly ball, center field, and plenty of space for Carlos Gomez, and that's 6 in a row retired now by Martin Perez. Both starters settling in. Rougned Odor, Elvis Andrus, and then Joey Gallo. They're coming the bottom of the 4th. Inning, a 1-1 game, and we wrap up this 3-game series. MLB umpires getting ready to host a 9th annual online auction for Umps Care charities. In fact, they're already underway now through May 1st. Umps offering up over 300 items, including autographed memorabilia, VIP experiences, and a lot more. Go to MLB.com/umpscare and help them out. As Odor takes a strike. Rugi had the base hit in the first inning. Looked like he was going to score Carlos Gomez. But Cole Calhoun out in right field made a dazzling throw to the plate to gun Gomez down. And this bouncer will be gobbled up by Espinosa. One away.
The shortstop, Elvis Andrus.
So here comes Elvis. 0 for 1 so far today. We mentioned it earlier. Andrus batting 5th today, so he has batted just about everywhere in the lineup. Everywhere but what? First and third? It's, yeah, first and third, the only spots that Andrus has not yet found himself in the starting lineup.
I think the leadoff spot for him probably not one we would see, at least not the way that Delino Shields is going right now. Jurickson Profar has struggled a little bit. You have so many options and guys that you can throw in that. I say so many. A couple. Carlos Gomez has done it a bunch this year. You could always, if you had to, put Shin-Soo Choo in the leadoff spot as well. So I don't know if we'll still see Elvis get that leadoff spot. Take a look at Jurickson Profar. Answer Alberto. Still in the DL.
Ball and 2 strikes on Andrus, who was swinging a really good bat when we went to Anaheim. That was on the very first road trip. Homered in back-to-back games. And it was the first time in his career that he had homered in 2 straight. Count stays 1-2. He's also started every game but 1 at shortstop, and he strikes out here in the 4th. 2 away. And again, those starters really settling in here.
Dave, I don't know if you knew this or not, but nobody sees sports quite the way Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do. The brains to know and the guts to say. Catch Colin and Jason as they team up for FS1's daily sports talk show, Speak for Yourself, weekdays at 4 p.m. Central.
If you say so, CJ, then it is so. I don't know that I was fully aware of that as Joey Gallo takes strike 1.
Now you know.
Gallo with a base hit, leading off the second, got as far as third base, but was left there. Big swing and a miss. Joey continues to hold down third base and has done so beautifully. On base average up over 330 coming in with the power numbers on top of that, and he takes a called strike 3. Not real tickled with that one, but it's a 1-2 inning for J.C. Ramirez. We go to the 5th, all tied at 1. Affairs with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Well, a gorgeous Sunday afternoon here in Arlington. Globe Life Park never looked better. A 1-1 ball game, and both starters really starting to settle in a little bit. Ramirez has retired 9 straight. Martin Perez 6 in a row, and he dumps one in for a strike to Maldonado. Maldonado with that walk earlier, and that came with 2 outs. Very quickly in a hole here.
Really has been an improvement from Martin Perez based on what we saw earlier after that 3rd walk. Almost like he said, you know what, enough's enough. He's been pounding the strike zone since.
Stays 0-2. Yeah, coming right after guys, and you know, sometimes you can be too aggressive in the strike zone, but I don't think that has been the case. You did get up the home run to Cole Calhoun in the 3rd, and that has been the offense today for Anaheim. 1 run on 2 hits. Oh, 2 pitch and a chopper. That one gets through. And so Maldonado is aboard to start the 5th inning.
Almost right on cue what you were saying, living in the zone a little bit too much. You don't want guys to get too comfortable. It's kind of been a feast or famine almost the way that Martin Perez has treated the situation. Robinson Chirinos wanted this ball up and in. That's what he told him right before it. Ball ends up kind of finishing out over the plate, and Maldonado's able to hit that ground ball. But we saw the Anderson Simmons, right, 3-pitch strikeout. We saw the Mike Trout 3-pitch all strikes pop out, and yeah, there is something to be said for, you know, living in the zone too much and guys getting a little bit comfortable. And had he elevated that ball up and in the way that Chirinos wanted it, could have been a different result, maybe a strikeout or just a 1-2 count, which would have been fine as well.
Interesting that he would be checking in on Maldonado right there, who you don't figure to be a real threat to go. As a pitcher, sometimes you're doing that just to.
Could be from the bench. You know, they could be wondering and seeing, okay, you know what, Martin Perez is throwing a lot of strikes. Let's just take a look and see if they're maybe thinking about a hit and run. Maybe we can catch Martin. Maldonado leaning. Sometimes the throw over that comes from the bench for a guy that doesn't run may just be, I want to see if they're doing anything. See if they give anything away. You know, his top hand from Escobar start to slide up, or they may be thinking bunt. That's all. It could be Jeff Bannister just wanting to take a peek and seeing if there's anything going on.
1-0 to Escobar. Evens the count. Escobar, a guy who has really swung the bat well against left-handed pitching this year. You see the low numbers for him at the bottom of your screen. It has been a tough go in that way, but he has hit lefties to the tune of a .364 average. 0 for 2 today, but his last at bat was a hard out, a line out into left field.
And more often than not, when you see a right-handed hitter with good numbers against lefties, it'll tell you he's pretty good on the 2-seam fastball away. Could be good on the changeup as well from lefties. That's usually the indicator for those guys that put up the good numbers.
Maldonado with not much of a lead, and this ball hit out to right center, hanging up there, but it will drop at the base of the fence. Maldonado stopped at 3rd on the double by Escobar.
Kind of right on time. That is exactly what we just saw from Martin Perez and how well Yuna Escobar handled that pitch away. It was pretty well located. We'll take a look. It looked like a 2-seam fastball. It was down. Let's see here. Well, that's actually a little bit of look almost like a backdoor cutter that he tried to throw and end up missing out over the plate, but it's a good at bat by Escobar, not trying to pull that ball. And again, that's usually when you have success against lefties, when you'll drive that ball the other way that's out over the plate. And that's exactly what we just saw from Escobar.
So trouble now for Perez in a 1-1 game. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out, and the 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming. Calhoun got him for the home run last time up, bounces it down to 1st. Rua's going to come to the plate, and they've got a run down now. Maldonado tagged out. And they get a very key out.
What a great throw by Ryan Rua, and aggressive play as well. You don't see this all the time from a first baseman who is not playing in. It's one thing when you're playing in. When he was backed up just a little bit because he had the left-hander Cole Calhoun hitting, and Martin Maldonado is making sure that he tells Cole Calhoun to get down to second base. But in that situation, well, first of all, there's Rua making a really nice throw. But here's the deal, right? So Robinson Chirino says he's running there. You're not even going to throw that ball, right? Because you have Escobar sitting there. You just sprint at that runner and tag him out. If you got two guys standing there, you got two guys standing there. Escobar's not going to run back to second base at that point. So Robinson Chirinos does the right thing by not throwing that ball to Joey Gallo. You never know what can happen, right? Bad throw or hits the runner, whatever it may be. You just keep running that runner all the way back to third base and put the tag on him. Maldonado did a pretty good job of making sure he didn't get tagged too early so that Cole Calhoun could get down to second.
All right, now the intentional walk to Trout, so he's at first without a pitch being thrown. And Martin will deal with Albert Pujols with the bases loaded. Last time it was in the first inning with a couple of men on, he walked Pujols. Not intentionally, to load him, but now he has to deal with him with no place to put him. Pujols, the American League leader with 22 RBIs. And he has made a living in these kinds of spots. He was 0 for 3 last night. Had an 8-game hitting streak going into the game yesterday, but had some frustrating at bats. In fact, lost his cool at some point, was gesturing over to the Rangers dugout after the game. When pressed, he fingered the guy who had really been causing him problems.
He had a little bit of an issue yesterday, and I'm not exactly sure what Chichi Gonzalez said to him, but he was not happy after the fastball up and in. There was a slider up and in earlier. It was unintentional from Yu Darvish, but ultimately we learned that Albert Pujols wasn't having it. And that was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball that was up there a little bit and got away, and that's always going to make guys a little bit uneasy. We've seen that before from Albert Pujols.
Chichi pointing out, he said, I didn't say anything. I was just sitting there looking at him. So I wish I knew it was that easy to get in his head. A little game of cat and mouse going on in this at bat.
It's a big pitch here. It's a 1-1 count, but this is a big pitch. The difference between putting Albert Pujols ahead in the count, but then at the same time, you don't want to give him something that he can drive. This could end up being one of the bigger pitches of the game.
Here it comes. Popped him up. This one heading into foul ground. No, it's going to be running the line, and it is caught by Odor. And there are 2 away.
That's a great job by Martin Perez, elevating a fastball up and in, so Albert Pujols was unable to get to it in time. Yeah, he hit a fly ball, but it got on him. Ultimately called an infield fly, by the way. Kerwin Danley down at first base, but he hit his spot. Robinson Chirinos wanted it up and in. Martin Perez got it there with good velocity. Albert Pujols was unable to catch up. That was a big out and a big spot.
That was weird. I was waiting for Danley the whole time. I'm like, when are we gonna? You got to call that. Don't you have to call that relatively early? If it's going foul, can't you still throw it up as an infield fly? And then if it's foul, so it's foul.
No, because if you call it, then you're telling the infielders you don't have to catch it, right? So I think maybe for him, he wanted to wait a little bit longer.
Soft liner into center. Base hit Marte. 2-run score. Trout over to the third, and the Angels lead 3-1. Wow, you get Pujols to pop up, and you're feeling pretty good, and then on the first pitch, Marte hurt you.
Yeah, tough break here for Martin Perez because he made a great pitch. It was off the end of the bat. Yes, it was a good-looking swing, but he beat Jeffrey Marte in the sense that he kept the baseball off the barrel. But Marte, unfortunately, was able to drill that ball. Drill the ball, but hit that ball into center field.
So on the corners, 1 out. Pardon me, 2 outs, and Andrelton Simmons, who's 0 for 1 with a walk. This ball hit out to right. Zara is there. Inning over. But the Angels get a couple of 2-out runs. And they have the 3-1 lead.
It's 3-1. Shin-Soo Choo up to bat for Texas. And Choo said one of the most difficult things about being in that DH role is the fact that he's not able to play defense and turn the page on what could have been a bad at-bat. He said trying to turn the page on one of those bad at-bats when he doesn't play the field is a lot more difficult than when he's able to focus on that defense in between at-bats. Makes sense, guys.
Yeah, it's interesting too, Emily, because we always hear about guys taking bad at-bats out to the field in the negative sense, but he likes to use that field in the positive way to put it behind him. And he's ahead here 2-0 to start the bottom of the 5th inning.
Without a doubt. I mean, this is a little bit new. Shin-Soo's done it before, but not necessarily to the degree that he's done it with the Rangers this season. Yeah, there's some adjustments there and figuring out what works, and we've heard him talk about trying to get swings in between innings.
Hits this ball well. Deep center field and out to Greens Hill. It is out of here. That's a home run for Choo. 3rd of the year for Shin-Soo Choo, and it came on a 2-0 pitch. Well, he can sit on the positivity of that one for a while.
He certainly can. Got himself in a great count. Ramirez goes right at him. That ball actually some good late life on it at 91 miles an hour. It's a 2-seam fastball, but it was elevated. Choo does such a nice job. Not trying to pull this ball, take what the pitcher gives you, hit it to dead center, square it up. Great carry, and puts it out on Greens Hill.
Now Ryan Rua. That put an end to a stretch of 9 consecutive retired by Ramirez. Rua 0 for 1. And that'll even it up. Oh, a big swing by Choo. And Choo hit the ball in the 2nd inning, really deep to right field. Almost hit that one out. So he's had some great looks at Ramirez. And went around 1 and 2 on Rua. A 1-run game after Choo's homer. So the official measurement 436 feet. Exit velocity 104 miles per hour for Choo. 3-2. He wanted to peel on that check swing. He didn't go.
See that really good run. 95 miles an hour. That ball is moving. Even though it's staying horizontal and flat, you can see why last year after JC Ramirez did such a great job for the Angels in the bullpen that they wanted to at least give him a shot as a starter.
Rua down on strikes, 1 away in the 5th inning. We need a Chevy game break. Let's find John Radigan.
The catcher, Robinson and Chirinos.
All right, thanks, John. 1-run game here as Chirinos now steps in.
Well, some bad news here for the New York Mets. Noah Syndergaard has an injury. We're going to take a look at some of the hardest throwers in Major League Baseball. Noah Syndergaard, of course, is one of them. But JC Ramirez is actually up there as well with a really good fastball. We'll take a look at this, the numbers here. Noah Syndergaard averaging, really in a class all his own, at better than 98 miles an hour. But Ramirez as well. We're seeing him today sitting at 96 with his fastball. But the story on Syndergaard is interesting because they said he had some bicep tendonitis. He refused an MRI, which you don't hear too often where a player refuses to have an MRI. So they gave him a little bit of extra rest after they thought maybe the arm was tired. Now he leaves with a lat injury. And so that, I'm sure, will turn in ultimately for him to get an MRI now. But could be some bad news there for the New York Mets.
3-1 on Chirinos now.
How about Anthony Rendon? 5 for 5 with 9 RBIs today.
Oh,
as John just told us. And he was the one guy in that lineup where they were kind of waiting for him to come along. Everyone else has been really solid. Ryan Zimmerman's having a great year. Ryan Zimmerman, by the way, is hitting .414. Bryce Harper's hitting .385. They were crushing it, even though they lost, Adam Eaton, which is some terrible news. Trey Turner's hitting .323. Rendon now up to .270 just alone from today. He had been lagging. Matt Wieters is hitting just under .300. That is a lethal offense they have in Washington.
Borderline strike call on Chirinos. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting division. Interesting division race down to the finish, depending on how healthy the Mets stay, I guess, at this point.
I can keep calling him Jose. JC Ramirez seems pretty happy about something right there. Not sure what it was.
Mixed emotions at times. So there's a swing and a miss as Chirinos strikes out. That was crazy. All right, so 2 gone, and out of the top of the order for Delano DeShields. Download MLB.com @bat today and follow Rangers baseball live all the time. Stay connected to the game's best players all season long with game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, stats, news, and so much more.
That's what I was just using, the MLB @bat app, which, by the way, so I threw all those batting average numbers at you like crazy with the Washington Nationals. Did not mention Daniel Murphy, who's hitting .343. It is really unbelievable how deep that lineup is. So that's double trouble for the Mets. If Noah Syndergaard has any kind of injury that he has to deal with, they're already dealing with Steven Matz having an injury. Lots of issues there going on with the New York Mets and their rotation. And the Washington Nationals certainly seem to be for real right now with a great lineup, and they've been getting some good starting pitching as well.
It's like Delano and JC Ramirez struggling back and forth here to get their timing correct. Called strike. It's 1-1 on DeShields, who has walked and stolen a base. He's also struck out. He's been doing a terrific job in that leadoff spot.
It really is amazing to think what we've seen so far here from JC Ramirez, right? It's 7 strikeouts here in 4 2/3 innings. The fact that he's making only his 4th major league start, and the story kind of in a couple different organizations for him along the way. This was a waiver claim from the Cincinnati Reds a year ago. This is an impact arm. The Angels have done a really nice job of kind of getting him on track. The story was he's kind of a failed starter, put him in the bullpen. He did a great job for them last year when they picked him up.
He's got a beautiful smile.
It's hard for me not to laugh right there.
Called strike 3. We'll pick up more on JC Ramirez, who, by the way, with that his 8th strikeout, a new career high for him. Danny Espinosa leading it off. This was last night now. Out at second base. How about this play?
Yeah, scary moment. The ball caught the lip, ended up being a real high hopper. Now it caught a lot of Danny Espinosa's hat, but still a little bit of an injury. He was shaken up. He stayed in the game. But man, it looked really bad when we first saw it live last night. You watch that replay and you're grateful that it caught a lot of his hat, because if that caught him clean, you can imagine that he would be staying in the game after that.
Back in the lineup today and 0 for 2 so far. It's Espinosa, Maben, and Maldonado, the bottom third of the Angels order. Just missed that time in the count 1-1. So Martin Perez, and now 77 pitches, working in this 6th inning. He's been into and out of trouble a number of times today, and Jeffrey Marte, the guy who got him for a 2-run single last inning, that's been the big difference. Bouncer to short, takes care of Espinosa. 1 out here in the 6th inning. Hey, a Rangers Destinations package offers you the chance to hit the road with your Texas Rangers. You take a trip to Toronto May 26th through 28th. See the Rangers and Blue Jays. The package includes first-class hotel accommodations, a meet and greet with a Rangers player, a VIP ballpark tour, and a lot more. Go to TexasRangers.com/destinations to book your trip.
We'll be there.
Definitely will be there. And that's always anymore. Look, those are dates you circle on the calendar when either the Blue Jays are in town or the Rangers are going to Toronto, because those are intense series, not unlike the one that will begin tomorrow night in Houston, the first of 4 tomorrow down at what is the name of that now? Is the
Minute Maid?
Minute Maid.
I don't know.
That's right.
Enron.
I'm out of my orange juices lately. Maben 0 for 2. It's 2-1 here. Now, there's activity out in the Rangers bullpen. Yeah, there's Jeremy Jeffress.
Martin Perez has done a good job of maintaining velocity as well. You saw it last fastball at 94 miles an hour. The pitch count really isn't that bad at 81. We've seen him in the 90s through most of his starts this year.
Another ground ball to short. Good pick by Rua. 2 away.
Catcher Martin Maldonado.
Take a look at Ryan Rua and the great pick that he makes here on the throw. Elvis Andrus. As he fields it there, but watch this ball in the dirt and that kind of short hop right in between. Those can be a little bit tricky. You like short hops that are a little bit more comfortable. You see that there, though, how close that was to going under Ryan Rua's glove.
Martin Maldonado. Maldonado has been on both times today, a walk and a single. One-run game, top of the 6th inning, and a decisive game in this 3-game series. 0-2.
This would be a nice batter here for Martin Perez to end the inning on, potentially maybe ending his day. Think about resetting that lineup for a 4th time around. That's something he has not done this year. He has never gone more than 3 times through the lineup in any of his starts here in 2017.
Well, the 2-strike pitch, and it's bounced, fair ball right down that third base line, and that will disappear into the corner. Maldonado with an easy 2-out double.
Here's another instance, because you brought it up, we've all of a sudden seen it now. This is an 0-2 count. Robinson Chirinos wants this ball in the dirt. They're going for the strikeout. As you see that ball just go over the bag. It's not about catching the chalk at that point, even though it did. Martin had an opportunity there to finish off Maldonado, or at least to try to get him to chase something. It was a great replay. Was that a pretzel bag floating in the background? Did you see that?
Yeah. So 2 out, and Maldonado at second base, and here is Yunel Escobar. Well, the Angels with 1 hit so far this afternoon with runners in scoring position. They're 1 for 6, but Chirinos out there to have a word with Martin Perez before he goes any further with Escobar.
Just want to make sure they're all on the same page, right? We saw Escobar hit a ball pretty hard to right center field in his last at bat on a pitch that was away. So Robinson wants to make sure he's comfortable. I guess that pitch was a little bit more over, but when they're going to go away, saying it's okay to get this ball down on the corner, be aggressive. Got a lefty on deck, so it could be, hey, maybe be a little bit careful. But Cole Calhoun obviously had some good swings today against Martin Perez.
Out towards center field. Gomez coming hard. He can't get there. Maldonado to the plate, and he'll score. 4-2 Angels on the 2-out single by Escobar.
Right fielder Cole Calhoun.
Unfortunate here for Martin Perez as you see the changeup, and it was well located. And Escobar didn't hit it hard, but when we talk about the righties that do a good job against left-handed pitching, these are the kind of hits that they're going to get sometimes where they're just staying in the middle of the field. And Carlos Gomez realized he didn't have a chance, that this ball didn't dive for it. Martin Perez actually is the one who ends up cutting it off. He did not back up home plate there.
So now Calhoun had the home run in the 3rd inning, and it was the first home run that Perez has allowed to a left-hander since May of 2014 when David Ortiz took him deep. That's a rare sight when you see a lefty doing a job like that on Martin Perez. But I mentioned it at the outset, lefties for whatever reason have hit him well this year, which has not been the case in his career, but for some reason, 5 now 6 starts in it has been a bit of a trend.
And Doug Brocail going to go out there and talk to talk to Martin Perez probably about that. Make sure that he's staying focused here on the game plan. It's still just a 2-run game. Want to make sure you keep it close. Don't make a mistake just because you're playing the left on left odds here. Make sure that the game plan is in place, because you got Jeremy Jeffress sitting there. This is most likely Martin Perez's last hitter of the day. You certainly don't want anything to get away from them right now.
A 4-2 game. Now Escobar, during that little break in action, was walking around the infield picking up pieces of trash and putting it away. This ball hit out to center field, and so Calhoun with another knock. Escobar to second. And now things really get crazy, and that is going to do it. Jeff Bannister coming out with Trout and Pujols coming. That is enough. Martin Perez will leave with a couple of men on base, trailing by 2. But the heavy hitters coming for the Angels.
high-speed replay. Cole Calhoun, we saw with the great throw here, nailing Carlos Gomez at the plate. We also saw him do with the bat against Martin Perez on a pitch that was supposed to be in. Sat over the middle. He drilled it to center field for a home run. And then in his last at-bat, base hit. It's Martin Perez ended up being his last hitter of the game and knocking him out of the game. Cole Calhoun having a nice afternoon here for the Angels.
I mean, the one left-handed hitter in there today, and you figured, well, that would be the one guy who you might have a little advantage with, but that has not been the case. He was very good. And now Jeremy Jeffress on for the 14th time.
Now here with Mike Trout up, and you see Jeremy and where he is with the strikeouts on the year. Not his game, but the good two-seam fastball will sit in the mid-90s, and you got a chance to tie Mike Trout up, and you got to get it in there. Can't make a mistake, and probably actually don't even want it down necessarily. You're better off kind of belting up if they go two-seam fastball against Trout.
Right at his knees.
His first pitch changeup from Jeffress that Robinson Chirinos wanted away, but that ball, it's got that tremendous run. Everything that Jeremy Jeffress throws really runs in hard, both the changeup and the fastball against right-handed hitters.
Critical spot here for Jeffress. A two-run game, but a lot of danger already out there. And Escobar at second, Calhoun at first. Just missed. Okay, easily the most dangerous hitter in the game. You can see the numbers on his current 14-game hitting streak. Second in the league in batting average, third in home runs, seventh in RBIs, etc., etc., as far as Trout goes. And Jeffress just needs one out to quell this rally, and a pop-up will end up in the seats.
And that's a good example of where Jeremy can throw that good two-seam fastball. As you see, Mike Trout got jammed on that, actually checked his back to see if maybe he broke it. This is why he's such a challenge. You know, it's rare that you get hitters that you can elevate on pretty consistently. Now you got to be careful. Small margin for error for a very good hitter. But you're always taught to think down and away, down and away. Well, that's exactly what Mike Trout wants you to do. That's his strength.
Two and two. Yeah, it doesn't get a whole lot easier after Trout. Not with that guy waiting. Well, take care of business right here and let Pujols lead things off in the seventh. The Angels have already stranded 6 runners today. Jeffress trying to make that 8. Full count.
It's such a daunting task here. You think about, okay, like you mentioned, you know Albert Pujols is sitting on deck. It's a 3-2 count. You certainly don't want to load the bases. You don't want to put 2 runners in scoring position, but you can't give in either. It's not just a matter of throwing a strike, but the confidence to throw a quality strike to go after the best hitter in the game.
Well, the runners will be moving. There they go. And there goes Trout. So they are loaded now for Pujols.
Designated hitter Albert Pujols.
Escobar third, Calhoun second, Trout first. And probably a little too simple to say that it all hangs in the balance here. I mean, the Angels already do lead by 2, but you could see Pujols with one swing and dramatically changing the direction of this game.
It's incredible to see 13 grand slams over the course of his career, but you're absolutely right. Even if it was a base hit, that would likely lead to 2 runs and really open the game. These are big at-bats. We know the Rangers have the offense to be able to come back from something like this. They're not down big at all, and no doubt, critical part of the game right here.
Pujols popped up, infield fly in the 5th inning in a very big spot, and he fouls off strike 1. That's when he came up with the bases loaded last inning and popped it up. He also walked back in the 1st. Was hitless yesterday. What a great afternoon here in Arlington. The wind has certainly been swirling. Got a Candlestick Park feel to it today. All the hot dog wrappers and such.
Garbage included.
Yeah. Oh, beauty. 0-2 to Pujols.
Albert complaining about that one. Believed that it was down. That's a really good pitch from Jeffress. And of course, Mike Sosa will let Bill Miller know about it, but a pretty good pitch for me. Nice job by Robinson Chirinos. A slight movement at the end, but I think it was a strike anyway.
It's been a strike for a long time, and it's going to be a strike for many years to come. Big 0-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Jeffress punches out Pujols with the bases loaded and preserves an opportunity for the Rangers.
A big spot here for Jeremy Jeffress, and he comes through against Albert Pujols. The 0-2 split changeup right there. Finish off the RBI.
Brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. Today's jackpot worth $500 plus dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Rangers are hitting for Mark Cerrone of Fort Worth. If a Ranger hits a home run this inning, well, Mark will win $500. If we get a grand slam, Mark wins $25,000.
Be a good inning for it. To be maybe a Joey Gallo or Shin-Soo Choo. Could be Elvis. Load the bases right away.
Nomar Mazara starting things off, and he takes a strike. Mazara today 0 for 2. He has struck out twice against J.C. Ramirez. The tall right-hander Ramirez, 28 years old, stands 6'5", 245 pounds. Just his 4th career big league start today. A well-traveled pitcher. In fact, initially was a signing out of Nicaragua by the Seattle Mariners. It was traded to the Phillies, part of the deal for Cliff Lee, and then signed numerous times over the years. Indians, Diamondbacks, traded back to the Mariners, signed by the Reds, traded to the Angels. At one point was a starter in the minor leagues, but then became exclusively a relief pitcher in 2012 up until this year. Last year the Reds, when they signed him as a free agent, they told him to go work on his slider and throw it all the time. So he runs it in tight. It's 2-2. And you were pointing out then he got traded to the Angels, and the Angels told him last year, all right, go work on your curve.
Yeah, in the offseason they told him basically be prepared to come into spring training as a starter. And so for him that meant adding a third pitch, and so he went with the curveball. What was amazing too for me is that he was a waiver claim. Then once he got to the Angels and made his first appearance on June 27th, from the end of the season he had the most games pitched and the most innings pitched by a reliever in the American League. So he went from waiver claim to hugely important piece of the Angels bullpen.
Now part of their rotation that has done a very nice job lately, and a very, very important part for them with Richards down. And we'll count on him to step in and become a regular in that rotation. He's done a nice job in his first 3 starts, and he's been pretty nasty here today. 2-2, and it's a full count on Mazzara. You see Jose Alvarez warming up in the bullpen. So the Angels may be feeling like they're getting toward the end of the line today with J.C. Ramirez. A good battle.
It's really kind of interesting too for me as we're watching the wind and the kind of garbage flying all around. A lot of it is collected like right around the pitcher, right? I think when you see the wind there, and so I don't know. I get distracted very easily. I don't know if Nomar Mazzara is distracted. I mean, you see all that garbage right there, and it keeps kind of blowing around. There's some in right field, but there's nothing in left. There's nothing in center. It's pretty much all around the pitcher's mound and right behind first base.
Mazzara down looking on the 8th pitch of the at bat. On the way in the 6th, it brings up Carlos Gomez.
And Carlos Gomez with a big cycle yesterday, went down to hit that ball low for a double in the first, lost to Choo, almost fell, and then this was the first base, or excuse me, the single that almost wasn't, and then the big triple. Mike Trout just misses that ball, but then the big blow. Look at the excitement there, but the big one here in the 7th inning, the fastball that was up on the Greens Hill. Let the melee begin, and yes, it was indeed Carlos Gomez's 2nd career cycle. It's got to be a pretty good fight for that ball. That'd be a good one to have.
Mention that of the 10 cycles that the Rangers have, there have been 8 here. So 8 in 24 years at Globe Life Park, whereas Wrigley Field in 103 years has seen 10.
There's all kind of weirdness right there in that board, and the fact that you saw Fenway and Wrigley, obviously because they've been around the longest. Coors Field is a monstrous field, not only the home runs, but you get a ball in the gap, it's going to roll forever. So you could see why maybe they would have some cycles. I don't know if I can explain Globe Life Park though, why it would. You got the age on the other 2, and maybe even more interesting is that Globe Life Park will be no longer in a couple of years, and I'm pretty sure Fenway and Wrigley are still going to be there with their 100+ years.
Ooh, called strike at the count, 2-2 on Gomez. Carlos had the base hit in the 1st inning, grounded out in the 3rd. That was a very close pitch. Rangers need a base runner or 2.
By the way, with that strikeout from Mazzara, now the 7th time he's struck out 3 times in a game in his young career, has never struck out 4 times.
Ramirez working quickly, and Gomez stays alive. For more on Gomez's night last night, we check in again with Emily Jones.
Yeah, not just last night, but you guys, Carlos says he feels sexy when he hits in the 3 spot. 3, 4, and 5, his eyes light up, and he said he feels very comfortable there, and he feels sexy as a hitter. So for what it's worth, it seems to be working for him, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
He certainly seems to have been in a groove, and certainly, a couple of hits, you square a few balls up, and that will continue. But yes, I think that's probably a fair way to describe how Carlos Gomez feels. That didn't feel so sexy. Not happy at all with that J.C. Ramirez fastball that finished up and in.
I think that at bat may have just spelled the end of Ramirez's afternoon. That was a 7-pitch at bat. Mazzara had that 8-pitch strikeout, and Ramirez indeed is done. So the potential tying run coming up here at the bottom of the 6th inning, and a new pitcher coming on for the Angels. Tying runs coming up for the Rangers. Hey, the Rangers take on the A's Saturday, May 13th. First 15,000 fans will be treated to an Elvis Andrus High Five bobblehead presented by Dr. Pepper and Tom Thumb. It's the first in a series of 2 high-fiving bobbleheads. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS.
It's a little skinny there in the lower body, huh, Elvis? A couple squats for that bobblehead, get him back in shape.
All right, Jose Alvarez, he got his first big league save on Friday night. He closed out at 6-3 Angels win here, and he is on now at a very big spot.
That just goes to show you how this bullpen is going to be operated for the Angels. You mentioned Alvarez getting the save. I asked Mike Scioscia about this yesterday. He said it's just a matter of using the only lefty that I have in my bullpen at the right time. Well, 3 of the 4 next hitters that are due up here for the Rangers are lefties, and so he decides to go ahead and play the Alvarez card now.
Odor 1 for 2 so far this afternoon. Gomez over at first, has very good speed. The Angels dip into their bullpen quickly here in the 6th inning. One and one the count. I think maybe the big number for Jose Alvarez, we were talking earlier about numbers you might consider when you're trying to evaluate pitchers. And for guys coming out of the bullpen, what do I know? But I mean, I really like the inherited runners scored stat. You know, and he has stranded all 11 of the 11 inherited runners he has had to deal with this year.
It matters. It still has its flaws, but it absolutely matters. It's always a good look for a reliever when that number is low, and league average, I want to say, is usually somewhere around 30%, 28, 29, somewhere in there, as far as, you know, how many inherited runners you allow. Now, at the same time, you can come in a situation like this. Alvarez could walk a guy, come out of the game, and it would be an 0 for 1 look in his favor, right? So sometimes doesn't necessarily tell you that you did your job. especially sometimes as a left-handed specialist. But yeah, no, it definitely matters. But then also think about this when you come in. We'll take a look real quick, by the way, at Rougned Odor, the big home run that he hit last night. Big situation where he ended up tying the game here for the Rangers off of Jesse Chavez. He stood there, watched it, probably not sure if it was going to be fair or foul with a W. But it was fair. Jesse Chavez reacting with a big home run there by Rougned Odor. But you know, the other thing that can happen too is if you get runners at third, nobody out, and you come in, or second and third, chances are those guys are going to score, and then it kind of goes against you as well. So here you go, Dave Raymond. Here you go, Dave Raymond. Oh,
this one stayed in our section though.
it did. That was right above you. That was close.
Yeah, that one had the right feel too. It would have hurt.
Yeah,
but I think that was a playable ball.
that was your chance.
Gomez with a decent lead now over there at first base. Not going though. Odor swings and lifts this one high in the air left field. Not going to carry for him. Maben waiting. And that is out number 2.
The shortstop, Elvis Andrus.
We'll bring up Elvis Andrus. Elvis today 0 for 2. We're a long way from being done in this one this afternoon. Bottom of the 6th inning, a 2-run game, and it's an opportunity for the Rangers to get a big run back. With 2 outs now, it's going to get harder and harder as Andrus, though, gets that advantage of facing a lefty here.
Yeah, kind of surprising. You look at his numbers. It's only been 20 at bats, but Elvis hitting .250 against lefties, but hitting .292 against righties this year. And his on-base percentage against lefties surprisingly low, just .286 so far. Now it's early. You don't want to overthink it as we finish up April here, but a little bit of surprise to me to see the difference there.
He's seen a little bit of Jose Alvarez over the years, though. 2 for 5 against him, a home run, a base hit. Now ahead in a big way here. If he can even get on via the walk, that would set things up nicely for Gallo. Taken all the way. 3-1. Rangers had some opportunities early against J.C. Ramirez, making just his 4th big league start, left with a career high 9 strikeouts. And worked out a couple early jams, really settled in. 3-1. And there's strike 2.
And Elvis will argue that and doesn't like it for a couple of different reasons. One, it was probably a ball, but also Alvarez missed his spot so badly. Right? They're trying to go down the way, and he cuts it across, and you have it looks like maybe crossing the plate, but you look at where it finished as well. You usually don't get that call. That ball looks in to me. You see it on that replay.
All right, now a full count, and this one sent down into right field, but Calhoun positioned well. So the inning over. Rangers strand another runner. We're off to the 7th. Angels lead by 2. afternoon. Is it done yet? 23-5 Nationals and 10 RBIs for Anthony Rendon.
I mean, have a month right there. It's a good month that he had today.
Cool. 3 bombs, a double, 6 for 6.
Now, usually the fun thing about those games is that we get to see a position player pitch, right? We kind of like that. It's kind of fun, too.
Sure.
Before Kevin Plawecki, who is a catcher, not only did he pitched 2 innings today, and he let up 3 home runs. That's not so much fun. It's fun to watch him in 1 inning, maybe a hit, maybe 1 home run. And it's not that easy to do either, because those guys will throw what hitters will tell you and call below the hitting speed. He had a rough one today. 4 hits, 4 earned runs for Plawecki. He watches his ERA go from 0 to 18. He may not get a chance to work that down the rest of the year.
Now 7th inning here. Jeffress out after finishing the 6th. He goes 1-1 to Jeffrey Marte. So the big league record for most RBIs in a single
is,
game.
without telling me, Fernando Tatis, 12.
Mark Whitten, 12. Yep. But you got it, 12.
Well, Tatis had 8 in 1 inning.
Right.
And 2 grand slams. Right? But he couldn't get to the 12. Huh?
Couldn't get to 12.
Hard hitting Mark Whitten, that 4 home run game.
A 4 home run game. It was game 2, I believe, of the doubleheader, and drove in 12. He set the record for most RBIs in a doubleheader that day as well, which you might guess, which is
13.
Yes.
Really?
How about that?
Is it really?
Yeah.
I was
Isn't
just
that
joking.
crazy? I thought that was nuts too. So we got 1 RBI in the other one. Bouncer third base.
What a slacker.
And Gallo over to first, gets Marte 1 away. And before Andrelton Simmons comes to bat, let's check in again with Emily Jones.
Yeah, our State Farm winning combination today features the guy on the mound for the Rangers right now. Jeremy Jeffress came in relief. He has inherited 7 runners thus far this season, has not allowed any of them to score. Of course, that big strikeout of Albert Pujols to end the 6th. A pivotal moment in this game. And one little fun fact about Jeremy Jeffress, guys, he keeps his mind sharp by playing chess in the clubhouse. So definitely a winning combination for Jeremy Jeffress.
Indeed, Emily, thank you. And in fact, I saw him the other day. He was in it was like a 2-day battle.
Oh, really?
He was embroiled in this last week.
Who was his opponent?
Matt Hicks.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, our esteemed radio colleague, Matt Hicks. And they went a couple of days to get that one done. I did not see who won.
Well, now, if you're in that situation and you're Matt, you don't really want to win, do you? I don't want to take off one of the pitchers on the team. I want to make them feel good. I mean, you can engage and get a good battle going, but I might lay down toward the end a little bit just because you want all positive momentum for these players. You don't want to tick them off and send Jeremy Jeffress to the bullpen that day, hanging a loss on top of him right there, right?
Okay, so as a guy who is, never been a professional athlete, not on the team, I can tell you that, and I don't know if Pixie thinks the same way, but if I can beat you in anything, tiddlywinks,
I got
I'm
you.
taking it.
You can take me in tiddlywinks without a doubt. I guess that's fair. I get it, but at the same time, if Jeremy went out and pitched poorly that day, I would feel a little guilty if I was Matt.
And clearly, we would put the bad mojo on him too.
Yeah.
On Hicks, if that were to be the case. Now since the game's long gone now, so I think all is well. But we will have to find out who won.
And he also is a pretty avid ping pong player, pretty consistently. That you can see Jeffress playing some ping pong with Sam Dyson, who has maybe one of the most interesting ping pong games I've ever seen. Plays with 2 hands on 1 racket.
Yeah.
So he's got the double backhand like you would in tennis, but also the double-handed forehand. It looks like it would be really hard to control that tiny little paddle with 2 hands, but it's fascinating to watch.
Simmons off first. And Jeffress quickly over there. 1 out here in the 7th inning. We've not seen a ground ball double play yet. We saw a line out double play in the 1st inning, which was huge at the time, because it got Martin Perez out of a bases loaded 1 out jam. I'm so used to seeing a number of double plays in every game. It's 1-1 now on Espinoza. Not yet today. Another toss over to first. You know, we've talked a little bit about the wind today and some of the visual evidence of that on the field. If you look at the flags up top the scoreboard to the left, over left field, they're really howling. You see those we see all the time, and those are the ones, you know, that we look at quite a bit and get a read. But look, watch over here. These bad boys are really going. Yeah.
That is incredible. It's really difficult to try to figure out. Not only that, but some are going in different directions.
Yeah, way up high. Oftentimes they're at least going in the same direction. You get some sense for what might be going on. We're getting the flags going in all kinds of directions.
They even changed in the time that we went away from that shot. For a second, they started shooting straight out. Now they're actually, well, they're back straight out again, but they had gone right. So yeah, high pop-up, a Joey Gallo type pop-up could really cause some trouble today.
You might want to wear your helmet out to the outfield. 2-1 the count on Espinosa. We were down earlier today down there in the dugout, and it was, I don't know, less than an hour before game time, and I was surprised at how calm it is down on the field. Walking on the warning track, you know, back behind home plate, because there are days when you're down there and it's windy down there as well. It's rare that I've felt that it's calm, but it is in certain spots, which goes to the point you were making about the trash swirling behind and around the mound. It's like all the wind seems to kind of isolate to one spot here and there. Bouncer to Andrews. He'll put the tag on one. No, he missed him. They get the out. No, they didn't get either out. He missed him with the tag, but he went out of the baseline, so they do get the out at the front end. Simmons is gone, but Espinosa just beat the throw.
Yeah, curious decision here by Elvis Andrews to go for that tag, because Anderson Simmons is pretty quick, and as you see there, didn't get to him, but they call him out of the baseline. Pretty tough double play to try to turn. I think if he just flipped that ball right to second, that they would have had a much better chance, but Elvis decides to go for it himself. Now, the other thing was Joey Gallo had a long way to go to get over there, and so that might have been part of the reason that he decided to go for the down. Joey Gallo was there, actually, so interesting decision to go for it that way, and they get the one out, and because Anderson Simmons went out of the baseline, as you mentioned, that's why he's called out.
But him going out of the baseline like that, you know, may well have saved the double play.
Without a doubt. I think a lot of people misunderstand a lot of times what is the baseline. It's not the line from first base to second base. It is the line from which the runner runs to the next base. So if he wants to take a huge loop, that's fine. That's what the baseline is. You actually create the baseline, and then going out of it in the umpire's judgment is 3 feet either way.
Two gone. Maben, who is hitless so far in 3 trips. And first to check in of Espinosa. Four runs, 9 hits for the Angels today. They've left 9 men on base, though. Rangers 2 runs on just 4 hits. They've stranded 3. And it's 1-1 now on Maben. Jeffress got the final out of the 6th inning. He walked Trout and struck out Pujols. That was a very big strikeout. Pujols today has stranded 6. So he's had kind of a tough day. Gallo looking to go the short way for the final out, and he does. They get Espinosa. The inning is over. And we'll go to the bottom of the 7th, a 2-run game. We check in with Chuck Morgan for God Bless America.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Will you please rise and direct your attention to the area behind home plate and welcome Christina Tinkler. In honor of all the veterans who have served our country and the servicemen and women who are currently stationed home and around the world, Christina will now perform God Bless America.
God bless America. Land
Bears with no to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. Well, ready to go. Bottom of the 7th inning. A 4-2 game. Joey Gallo against Jose Alvarez. Alvarez came in last inning. Got the 2 outs he needed, Odor and Andrews. And now back-to-back lefties this inning, so he stays out there. And it's 1-1. Gallo today is 1 for 2. Those came in at bats against J.C. Ramirez. Bouncer over to that first base side. And the exchange, a clean one. And one away. And before we see Shin-Soo Choo, we take a Chevy game break and send it back to John Radigan. They never lose to the A's. It's like it's a rule. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What, they won like 11 to 12, something like that?
I don't know.
I think with that one today, 11 to 12 maybe against them. So it's they're rolling, man. And that's going to be a big series tomorrow night in Houston as Choo takes a strike. You know, speaking of tomorrow, our AT&T next game, Carlos Beltran, the former Ranger, briefly now, but still the former Ranger and former Astro, back with the Astros, and he has always done well against the Rangers.
You think about those numbers that Odor has put up. It's in a limited amount of time when you compare them to Carlos Beltran, of course, who has been around the league for a long time, 40 years old. Good to see Rugi have some strong numbers against the rivals.
A lot of questions today, too, for Jeff Bannister and company about the dominance that the Rangers have enjoyed in terms of wins and losses against the Astros the last couple of years, and very quick to say, listen, we've had some good fortune lately. That's a good team. And they know it. This is going to be a dogfight. Liner up the middle. What a catch by Simmons. And Choo erased for the second out of the inning.
We know Andrelton Simmons has the great glove, but this must be so frustrating for Shin-Soo Choo as he drills a ball up the middle. And how about right before, as that pitch is being thrown, Andrelton Simmons is throwing seeds in his mouth, and then he's ready as the pitch is delivered and makes a great play. That is incredible. You see a mouthful of seeds. He literally was throwing them in his mouth as that pitch was being delivered to the plate.
All right, Alvarez is out. Blake Parker coming on for the Angels.
How about this play? And we talk about the athleticism, but look at Andrelton Simmons. He's got his right hand in his back pocket. What's he doing? He's getting ready to take some seeds out because he wants to throw a couple in his mouth, looking up to the sky, and still getting ready in time to make this great play. That's unbelievable. I'm talking about guys that can't chew gum and walk at the same time. Andrelton Simmons can put a mouthful of seeds in his mouth and then make a tremendous play up the middle. What an athlete.
It's straight silliness. I don't know how, I mean, pretty amazing. And that was a big out. Choo, by the way, has been swinging the bat really well today, but he is 1 for 3. And here's Ryan Rua. Rangers trailing by a couple. Blake Parker in out of that bullpen.
Take a look at what Blake Parker has done so far in his 12 games, getting some more opportunities because so much has changed in his bullpen right now. They do not have a closer that they will go to consistently, playing matchups the entire way for Mike Sosa.
He's been striking guys out like crazy this year. You saw those 18 strikeouts and 10 2/3 innings. That's a strikeout per 9 rate of over 15, which is 3rd in the majors. He's ahead of Rua here, 0-2.
I mentioned the guys that are not there right now. Cam Bedrosian is one of them. No Houston Street.
Yeah, Bedrosian had 3 saves earlier, and now lately Bud Norris had 4. But we saw in this series, Jose Alvarez got the first in his career on Friday. And there's a strikeout of Rua. Parker adding to those strikeout totals and sends us to the 8th inning where the Angels lead by 2. Texas Tech fans, Fox Sports Southwest wants you to show your school spirit at a Texas Rangers game. You get discounted tickets for the Friday, May 12th game against the A's, and you also get a free Rangers cap in Raider red and black colors. All that, of course, while supplies last. Go to TexasRangers.com/Texas Tech for details. So to the 8th we go. And Sam Dyson has come out of the bullpen, replacing Jeremy Jeffress.
Sam Dyson 1 game back so far since that return from the DL. Looked pretty sharp in that outing. This is kind of I think you look at it as one step at a time, kind of rebuilding, getting him back to that level that he has been at even as early as spring training. But of course, what he's done since he's put on the Texas Rangers uniform, as dominant as he has been. A little bit of a bump in the road here for Sam, but like I mentioned, that first game back was a good first step in the right direction.
Well, he's going after Martin Maldonado here. And trying to do something that to this point of the game has not been achievable, and that is retire the 9th place hitter. Maldonado has walked, singled, and doubled. Had a very nice day at the plate. And is ahead here 2-0. Well, there's a little good news, bad news to everything you see on your screen right now. The 4-2 score, not where the Rangers won it. That's the bad news. And it's 3-0. The good news is it really could be a lot worse. I mean, the Rangers managed to work out a lot of jams, stranding 10 Angels on the bases so far.
Oh, there's been some big outs with some runners on base. Martin Perez made some big pitches. We talked about it a couple of different times where it could be critical points in the game where the pitching staff has come through, and so it's close. And certainly the Rangers, because of that, are in striking distance.
Maldonado deliberately out and then back in the batter's box, and Dyson gets him to bounce this one foul. It's a full count. The Angels today 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position. They're 1 for 4 with the bases loaded, and that's where they have squandered some bigger opportunities. Pujols, in fact, 0 for 2 with the bases loaded. So those are some silver linings, and still very much in this game as a result. Martin Perez went 5 2/3 today, handed it over to the bullpen. J.C. Ramirez went 5 1/3 for the Angels. When Maldonado is something to watch hit, man. He is like in and out of the dadgum box with every pitch, and it's laborious to get him in there. Dude, just take the bat and hit. I mean, it's just a joke. There you go. Maldonado down to first. All right, time for a 4-game summary. And take a look at the story of today's game. And Cole Calhoun has done it defensively and offensively.
Yeah, he's had a good day so far. Unfortunately for the Rangers, Shin-Soo Choo swinging the bat really well. That's some good news. We talked about him dropping in the order and who he has been. Take a look right here. Fastball that was up and away. 2-0 count drilled to dead center. So that's certainly a positive. You mentioned that silver lining. But there have been a lot of strikeouts here today for the Rangers. It's kind of been the downside. J.C. Ramirez, the starter for the Angels, was very good with his 9 strikeouts. A live fastball that we talked about, the good slider. We didn't see as many good curveballs. Except that one pitch that he had been adding, or has added this year. But he pitched a good game. It'll come down to the bullpens now.
Angels had a little hit and run going there. Maldonado was moving on the pitch. Escobar fouled it off for a strike. And now hits one sharply to second. Odor with a backhanded flip for 1. On to first. Double play for 6-3. And so that clears the bases. That means that Calhoun will have to bat with nobody out there in front of him, which is good news today.
It is, and that's an encouraging sign from Sam Dyson. Obviously, you don't want to see the walk, but because of that heavy sinker, this is what he can do. Ground balls, you hit a little bit firm, it's okay. You want guys hitting the top half of the ball. It is an easy double play all day long for the Rangers.
Well, there you go. So that sinker working for Dyson. Calhoun. A single. The homer has reached on an error and a fielder's choice. And a 247, but a 330 on base average, and he's had the big day. I think as big as that home run though was the throw to the plate of the first inning when he threw out Gomez. Looked like the Rangers would take a 2-0 lead in the first. This one hit high in the air and carrying well out there to right field, and just enough room for Mazzara. All right, that will do it. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Chirinos at the top of the order coming. Bottom of the 8th, and hey, Rangers fans, get $10 upper reserve box seats most Tuesdays all season long, courtesy of Fox Sports Southwest. You can also add a $10 meal to your seats when you buy online. Go to TexasRangers.com/specials and use coupon code FSSW10 to reserve your $10 seats today. All right, Chirinos leading it off here in the 8th. He's 0 for 2 so far this afternoon. And Blake Parker, who came in to strike out Rua to win the 7th, is out again. Right-hander's been getting a lot of swings and misses so far this season. And he makes it 1-1 on Chirinos. More activity out in the bullpen for the Angels.
Daniel Wright out there right now. And the other thing I asked Mike Scioscia, because I mentioned obviously you have the lefties here, 4 of them in the lineup today. They only have the one lefty in Alvarez that they already used. I said, who's kind of your go-to righty when it comes to maybe potentially trying to play some matchups if you've already spent Alvarez? And Scioscia said Guerra actually would be the guy who's done a pretty nice job. It's only 11 at bats, but lefty's just 1 for 11 against them. And how about this? 6 strikeouts to 1 walk. So he's kind of their right-handed, left-handed guy, if you will. I gotta believe there's a chance we'd see him maybe in the 9th inning. We'll see when the lefties start coming up here for the Rangers.
The 1-2, and he gets Chirinos swinging. So 1 out in the 8th. And it's back to the top of the order, and we check it again with Emily Jones.
Yeah, the Rangers announced before the game that they have claimed infielder Pete Kozma off of waivers from the Yankees. He will report, and when he does, there will be room made for him on the 25-man roster. That corresponding move won't be made, however, until he reports. So the only question now remains is whose roster spot he will take, guys.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Emily. So it means a little more of a shakeup coming. You look at some of the numbers for Kozma, former Cardinal, not a heavy hitter, good glove man. Give the Rangers some depth that way up the middle, some key positions. Bounce ball up the middle, and that's a base hit for the Shields. Oh, Delano with a walk earlier, that base hit there, and he is on twice today.
Yeah, you love seeing this from Delano to Shields. He's getting this opportunity now to hit every day in the leadoff spot and to play left field, like you mentioned, 2 times now that he has been on base. Watching Parker do a nice job so far with the strikeouts. He struck out the first 2 hitters he faced. Job by Delano. Hitting the ball hard on the ground, using speed to his advantage. Real quick on Emily mentioning Pete Kozma, who will be activated tomorrow. It's never a fun spot to be in, right? The clubhouse knows that. Sitting down there right now, kind of wondering, all right, who's it going to be? Will it be me? We'll find out soon enough here what the Rangers decide they're going to do.
Time taken before Mazzara sees a pitch. Well, Nomar 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts so far today. And he has been in a big-time scuffle lately. Parker's first pitch to him. No. Mazzara did get a hit yesterday that ended in 0 for 13.
And an RBI, right? So finally, it's been a while since he had an RBI.
Yep, he had an 18 for the year. 7th most in the American League, but it has been a big-time, very dramatic drought lately from Mazzara in that regard.
I think you're getting a really good taste of the back and forth, right? You talk about this all the time. I think you guys saw it last year with Nomar Mazzara. Gets off to the great start. The league starts to learn him a little bit. Tailed off somewhat in the second half. Gets off to a great start this year. First couple of weeks, now you're seeing a little bit of change. And what the Rangers think they have seen is opponents pounding him in with hard fastballs a little bit more, and him having a little bit of a difficult time getting to those, right? So that's the back and forth, and you got to be careful, because if you get a hitter looking in too much, man, that really opens up the outside part of the plate. You don't want to see him start to open up trying to get necessarily to those inside fastballs and the front hip flying open, because then pitchers only have to be average away. You don't have to be good away if you got a guy that is opening up. So it's that back and forth cat and mouse game with scouting reports that I think Nomar Mazzara is probably going through right now a little bit.
Runner goes, and this one shanked foul. So the Shields will have to head back. Delano did steal a base earlier today, his 5th of the year. But the fact that he got on in this 8th inning means that with any one swing of the bat, this game could be tied again. And Mazzara is certainly one of those guys who could run into one. Has 4 home runs this year.
Yeah, no doubt. We saw a breaking ball early, saw fastballs away, so we haven't seen anything hard in this at bat to Nomar just yet.
I know with that good lead again, not going. And a bouncer first base side. They'll go to second for one. The relay to first, not in time. Mazzara keeps the inning going.
Credit Jeffrey Marte with a pretty big throw here. A lot of first basemen will put this in their back pocket and just take the out. This was kind of close, and Delano did not slide there either. Not that he was going to be safe. You have to be careful with that throw coming across from Anderson Simmons, but good hustle here as well by Nomar, and almost a little bit of a disaster as Parker and Espinosa and Mazzara all kind of got the first base around the same time. And now Mike Sosa is out there asking exactly that question and saying, listen, he didn't slide. Doesn't he have to slide on any double play attempt, right? We know about the new rules and saying a bona fide slide. Delano just went in standing up directly to second base.
Right. I mean, the rules were written, though, about the slide. The fact that he didn't slide in some way, to me, takes him completely out of that conversation.
You bring up a pretty good point then. So is that a new, better way to break up double plays? Is it just go in standing up?
Yeah. And now you're at risk, right? They can throw it right at you, but that's a chance you're going to take. Is now they're going to review this. Scioscia's asked them to take a look, and this may be, well, this will be much less a look at the replay in terms of whether or not the slide was legal under the new understanding. It's just an interpretation, and they're done. Man.
Yep. They're going to say contact. No, they're going to call him save. Interesting. Okay, because this is how the rule reads. If a runner does not engage in a bona fide slide and initiates contact with the fielder for the purpose of breaking up a double play, it should be called interference. If you do slide, then you have to fall into those rules.
Okay, interesting.
The slide. So there was looked like there was a little bit of contact there. It wasn't real intentional. It wasn't significant. Maybe it was after the throw. I don't know. So it doesn't matter. But that's at least where Mike Scioscia was trying to go.
Yeah, at least there's some caveat there that you can look at, because it does make sense. There should be something. All right. In this case, there was nothing.
It's not like Little League, right? Little League on a play at home plate, you have to slide or you're out. Period. That's not quite the case here in the big leagues.
A big swing by Gomez. You know, the big hit yesterday, the big hits yesterday. It has been on 2 more times. It's had a huge homestand. Hitting nearly 400 on this homestand with good power numbers, run production numbers.
My, look where Maldonado was standing there, where his target was for Parker. And you do that when you have guys that maybe have a difficult time elevating the way that you want them to, right? Sometimes you can throw the glove up a little bit, say, hey, get it up here. And then in the case of Maldonado and thinking about Carlos Gomez, you know, he's all the way up where he is almost standing up, because we've seen this from Carlos, right? We've watched him where he has been very aggressive on the ball up, and Maldonado knew that and was trying to get him there.
Now the 0-2 pitch, and they tried to get him to chase one down, but he wouldn't.
So here's Maldonado right before the pitch, the 0-1 pitch. Look how high he is. That's not 0-2, that's 0-1, and look where this ball ends up. Strike right down the middle, and I think that tells you exactly why Maldonado was that high. He believes that maybe Parker has a difficult time elevating when he wants him to, and he certainly did there.
Yeah, well, the subsequent pitch he wanted sort of in a, you know, at the knees, and it ended up in the dirt. So yeah, he's just compensating for Parker's miscalibration out there. Well, Mazara is still at first. 1-2. Yeah, that'll even it up. Well, certainly, if one swing gives you the chance to tie the game, as it does right now, well, that's the guy you want up. Gomez is swinging the hot bat. He and Choo right now are the two who could absolutely turn anybody around at the moment. It's a home run, a triple, 3 doubles, and 5 RBIs on this homestand.
And that's why the conversation takes place. They know that. Maldonado knows that. He wants Parker to be very careful here.
2-2.
And not careful in the sense where they're working around Carlos Gomez. Of course not. He represents a tying run, but making sure that everyone's on the same page. Yes, you go through the scouting reports pregame. There's more meetings than ever now, more information available, but they still, in big situations, sometimes just want to verbally confirm what the game plan is and what they're trying to do against Carlos Gomez.
Parker working hard here in this 8th inning. Runner goes, and that one is outside for ball 3. The throw down to second base, and they gun down Mazara. Oh boy, tough way for the 8th inning to end. Mazara caught stealing. Jeff Bannister.
They're going to want to take a peek at this. Let's see if Nomar Mazara gets a foot in there. Kind of unusual. He might have looked like no tag. But how often do you see a guy slide in feet first anymore for a steal? You just don't see it too often. Now that's not going to tell you what you want to see there, because it did look like It was a missed tag. This is going to go to replay, by the way. The Rangers have already decided. I think our first view was our best one. I think you're right. And let's see it right here. This is the best one right here. No contact there. Nope. Foot in. He's safe.
Yeah, he's safe. So that is interesting. This one should get overturned.
Ground score using the opportunity for the replay to get some more of those hot dog wrappers and napkins off the field. That can't be fun. Trying to chase a napkin in the wind like that, you know it's not going to sit still.
Well, they've got the bodies on it. So this one should get overturned, which means it'll be a full count with Mazara at second base. Interesting. They're taking some time here. We looked at a couple of views and it seemed pretty clear.
They should just call us. We'll let them know what's going on.
What is the problem? Well, that'll be big. Keep this inning going. I mean, the only upshot of that would be out was at least Gomez would get another at bat in the 9th inning. But I'd much rather have him swinging here as a potential tying run.
Absolutely. You got a pitcher on the ropes. You got to be able to take advantage of it. The best case scenario right now is that this gets turned over the way that it should. Let's hope they don't mess this one up.
Here comes our call. Yeah, indeed. Overturned. Great review. Mazara with his second stolen base of the year. How about that? 4 today for the Rangers. All right. And now the big payoff pitch to Gomez. Everybody back in their positions. And that's ball 4. So the tying runs are on. Now, you talked earlier about the fact they don't have another lefty, but they have a righty who could be their pseudo lefty, and it looks like Scioscia is going to make that move. Rougned Odor is coming, and Parker in a bit of hot water here. Yeah, that's it. So he's done. And out to the pen they go. Tying runs on base in the 8th. Eighth inning, and Rougned Odor to face the new pitcher, who is Bud Norris.
See the numbers there for Bud Norris. He really has emerged as a go-to arm here for Mike Scioscia in the bullpen. I mentioned Guerra earlier as maybe the guy that they would want to use against lefties. Norris also has some pretty solid numbers this year. 176 batting average against in the 17 at-bats that he does have against left-handed hitters. He struck out 5 of them so far this year.
We saw him on that trip through Anaheim couple of weeks ago, and he pitched 3 scoreless innings in relief. There's some talk that they might even elevate him into the rotation, since that is how he came up to the big leagues, was as a starter. Instead, he's remained in the bullpen, eventually took over the closer spot, and is in a big situation here. The right-hander to the left-handed hitting Odor.
Yanked that two-seam fastball. That's a lot of what you're going to see here from Bud Norris. It's a 4-seam, 2-seam fastball. You see a cutter as well, and a slider, and a very, very occasional changeup. Now, he may use it against lefties, but I got to believe this is going to be mostly 2-seamers and cutters. Maybe that slider below the zone if he gets ahead in the count.
Mazara, Gomez out on the bases. And it's 2-0. We've seen a lot of mid-inning changes today, really, by both teams. We've seen a handful of them, and it's become somewhat unconventional in today's game. A lot of guys come in with clean innings, and Norris coming in here inheriting a few runners, and immediately misses on his first 2 pitches.
All 3 pitching changes so far for the Angels have been mid-inning. It's not ideal, but Mike Sosa felt like it's been time to make the move each time.
2-0. And there's strike 1 on Odor, who is 1 for 3 today. Norris came up as a starter in 2009 with the Houston Astros. Pitched with them until he was traded in 2013. Became a longtime Oriole. Braves, Dodgers since, and now the Angels. And his 2-1 on the way. Ball 3.
He's having a hard time finding the slot that he wants on that 2-seam fastball. Even the foul ball was a ball that he left up. We saw him pull the first one down and in, and now he's missing consistently over the plate. And I got to believe that's his go-to. He's going to try to get back there again and try to get this 2-seam fastball on the outer third against Odor.
Well, a walk here would put the tying runs in scoring position. Odor, a guy who, as most Rangers fans would be aware, does not walk a lot. 4 times this year, which is actually a much higher rate than in years past for him. That's full count. Looks like he might have chased ball 4 right there.
It's pretty nasty at 97 miles an hour. I was surprised that Maldonado was on the corner as much as he was. When you have a guy missing like that, sometimes just shade a little bit more on the plate to try to get him on the plate and let the run of the pitch take it to the corner.
Well, speaking of running, that's what Mazara and Gomez will do right here. And the payoff pitch fouled back. Now they have faced each other a handful of times. Odor 2 for 8 against Norris. J.C. Ramirez started it, and it's been Jose Alvarez, Blake Parker, and now Norris. Play Odor to pull on the infield. Runners going again, and a swing and a miss. That one in the dirt. And Odor strikes out to win the threat. Rangers leave a couple. Now we go to the 9th inning in a 2-run game.
Washington. John Radigan here, getting ready for Rangers Live, presented by Frontier Communications. We'll bring you a complete post-game wrap-up. We've got interviews with Jeff Bannister and some of the players. Of course, Mac and Pudge will join me here too. And we've been battling the wind up in here, guys, like we never have before. It's there's a chance in the post-game show my hair might blow for the first time in 3 years.
Come on.
There's a chance.
No way.
We're going to need a video of that.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Well, we go to the 9th inning here, and it's still a 2-run game. Very much, you know, a winnable game, but a huge spot for Dyson now, who pitched a scoreless 8th inning. Out in the 9th to face Mike Trout. And jams a strike right in there on him.
That was a while ago. He finished that inning. It seemed like a long inning for the Rangers with the pitching change. Unfortunately, came up empty in that 8th inning. We had a pitching change. We had a replay review. Sam Dyson, a little bit of a challenge when you have that long of a wait in between innings, and obviously a big challenge because he's got Mike Trout and Albert Pujols to contend with.
Trout, Pujols, Jeffrey Marte, who, when you get right down to it, Marte delivered one of the biggest, if not the biggest, hits of the day. That one came in the 5th on the very first pitch after Pujols popped out with the bases loaded. He's in there, and it's 1-2 to Trout.
Still really good movement from Sam Dyson on that 2-seam fastball. Now it is a little bit horizontal. I think some of the conversation once he went on the DL was trying to figure out how they can get a little bit more depth, get back to that where you're standing on top, where the arm angle and hand angle is exactly where you want it, so you can get depth on that 2-seam fastball.
2-2. Well, he's good in the 8th inning. Walked Maldonado, got a double play, and then Calhoun hit the fly ball to right field. That one carried well all the way back to the wall, but 3 batters, 3 outs. This one off the handle, out into short left, and what a play by Andrews to track it down. Wow! He covered some ground.
It was great range from Elvis Andrews, and I wasn't feeling too good about this off the bat of Mike Trout. Looked like it was going to be a bleeder because Delino DeShields wasn't going to have any chance at getting this ball. It was only up to Elvis Andrews, and he does a great job of tracking it. Didn't get very high. A long way to run. Every step matters, and Andrews pulls it in.
Holy Des Bryant, Batman. Great reception. One away. Here is Albert Pujols. Pujols had a frustrating day today. He's had a frustrating couple of days. Well, for his last 6 the last 2 games. Doesn't mean that he didn't do damage in this series. He hit a big 3-run homer in the 8th inning on Friday that ended up being the winning margin. Dyson has come in twice and missed. Beauty.
Really good 2-seam fastball. You think about being in that 2-0 count against a good hitter like Albert Pujols, and so Sam Dyson, the ability to start that pitch off the plate and bring it back without it sitting right in the middle and becoming a very hittable pitch. He's another guy with the kind of stuff where he can get away with pitching behind in the count if he's got good command.
Roller third base. A little bobble for Joey Gallo, but has time and takes care of Pujols. 2 away. Well, it did not end up being routine for Gallo. The good news for him was that Pujols just doesn't move down the line that well, so he had all kinds of time to gather himself. Now Marte, who's 1 for 4, but with 2 RBIs. In the bottom of the 9th, it'll be Andrews, Gallo, and Choo. Choo's had some real good swings today, so if they can just get somebody on in front of him, Keep things interesting. And another strike to Marte. 0-2 the count. Well, so far, Dyson getting some work in this series and looking good. This ball golfed down that left field line. High in the air, carrying well and gone. Well, Marte's home run makes it a 3-run lead for the Angels. That one hurts.
No doubt this is a deflating home run as Sam Dyson was cruising along through an inning and 2/3 and also way ahead with Jeffrey Marte in an 0-2 count. It's this two-seam fastball at sinker, and you can see kind of the hand position. He's off to the side just a little bit, keeps that ball flat. Usually when he's at his best, those fingers are just a little bit higher and more downward depth, but more importantly, the location of that 0-2. If you're going to leave it flat, you want it to get way in there off the plate for a ball. Unfortunately, that one caught too much plate.
Yeah, Marte's end up having the big game today as well. He and Cole Calhoun make it a 5-2 Angels lead. So now we're talking about Choo in the bottom of the 9th inning. He needs both guys to get on in front of him. Chopper to Gallo, and he takes care of Simmons. The inning is over. Last chance coming up for the Rangers. Elvis Andrus will lead it off. Joey Gallo will get his hacks, and then Shin-Soo. Last chance for the Rangers coming, and Rangers fans, download the Fox Sports Go app and take Rangers baseball wherever you go. Can't catch the games on TV, you can still stream them live on your mobile device with the Fox Sports Go app, presented by Hyundai. All right, so Bud Norris stays in the game, got the strikeout in the 8th inning to end things. I mean, Norris, the right-hander, against Elvis Andrus. We'll start things off. Andrus 0 for 3 today, struck out in the 4th inning, and twice is flied out to right field. Joey Gallo waits on deck. One and one.
It's a good cutter from Bud Norris, the same way that he ended the inning against Rougned Odor, but the velocity on it is what's so impressive. At 90 miles an hour, the one that he threw to Odor had a little bit more depth to it. It's a good combination to go with Norris's two-seam fastball.
This one popped back behind the plate. And out of reach for Maldonado. Rangers need some base runners here. Andrews 2 for 8 against Norris. Pardon me, 1 for 8 against Norris in his career. Mentioned that Norris really had primarily been a starter both in the National League and then in the American League with Baltimore. Baltimore won 15 games in 2014 with the Orioles. I've started to get away from him a little bit the last couple of years, and now coming in out of the pen. And it's a full count on Elvis.
It's been a good at bat so far here for Elvis Andrus. Did a good job of fouling off that high fastball, laid off a good cutter off the plate. Now he's worked himself in a good position. Norris looked a little bit off today. Certainly leadoff walk would be a nice way to start things.
This will be the 7th pitch of the at bat. And he does walk in. Well, Scioscia has gone to Norris lately to close out games. And doesn't seem too concerned right now, worried about positioning his fielders more than anything else.
Nobody throwing in the Angels bullpen right now, so this is certainly Bud Norris's game. Now if another runner or two were to get on, maybe that would change, but right now Scioscia is leaving it all to Bud Norris.
You were talking earlier about how he kind of goes matchups a little bit, hasn't really settled on a closer as Gallo steps in. Just missed. You can see a little, almost a little flinch there by Bill Millard. Well, they're not holding Andrus at first base. He's got such a large walking lead. He's got to be. No, he's not going. And that one in the for a strike. It's 1-1.
He has to be a little bit careful if he's not going to take the bag. He's got to be very careful with Martin Maldonado, who is not afraid to throw behind runners. We've talked about it a bunch this series with him. He is extremely aggressive, one of the more aggressive catchers in the game when it comes to back picks.
Why not just take the base if they're giving it to you? There he goes. And that one is inside, and Andrus is at second base. And so he's in scoring position. Now that in and of itself is not a huge deal. And they're going to call that defensive indifference. But it is a bit of a deal in that it does eliminate that possibility of a double play.
Well, I think with Joey Gallo, the lefty up, Mike Scioscia decided he'd much rather have his first baseman Jeffrey Marte playing back, which of course is going to increase his range on any ball that's hit to the right side, and for him that's a chance worth taking when you have that 3-run lead.
Two and two on Gallo. Gallo with 7 home runs, tied for 3rd in the American League. They don't really need a home run right now. Rangers need him really just to find his way on. Ideally set up Choo. Full count. So another deep count, long at bat for Bud Norris. There we go. Gallo tops in the league in a handful of very important power categories and run production categories. This one should end up in the seats. And so Gallo will get another one.
Take a look at these flags now. We've been talking about them in the wind. It has been howling here all day at Globe Life Park. It is happening right now. You can see Cameron Maben's pants are blowing a little bit out in left field. And of course, as soon as I say it, they stop. That's the way it works. Make me look like a liar. They were not that long ago.
And call those wins. The winds have changed, CJ.
Oh, you sure?
Yeah, the game could change.
Had a Warrant song, Dio.
Gallo strikes out, and there's one away in the 9th inning.
Scorpions.
There we go. So, second time today, Gallo strikes out.
That's 13 strikeouts for the Rangers today. Team high, season high, excuse me. For them, their previous high was 12. They've done that a couple of times, but 13 on the day now.
Versus, interestingly, just 2 strikeouts by Angels hitters. Now, Martin Perez, not a big strikeout guy. The bullpen hasn't contributed many either. And now Choo takes ball 1. Choo's had some real good swings today. Norris facing him for the first time this afternoon. But Choo with a deep fly ball in the 2nd inning. Hit one out in the 5th and then lined out in the 7th. He's had a couple of hits in his career off Norris, one of them a home run. But trailing by 3, it's going to take more than that. This was Choo in the 5th inning.
We mentioned it. Fastball that ended up being up and away. It was supposed to be down and away. Good elevation to center field, and the melee begin.
He and Gomez have both had really good homestands. The 2 standout offensive players in this last week and change. Now stays 1 and 2. Now last year, Rangers made a habit of coming from behind and winning games like this. In close games, 49 come from behind games. They've been harder to come by in this first month of the season. Choo strikes out, 2 away. I don't think anybody would have anticipated that the entire month would have passed without Adrian Beltre participating, and that's been one of the stories too. Rangers have gotten to this position. They have stayed competitive, 11 and 13. They've done all of this without their future Hall of Fame third baseman.
And it's discouraging without a doubt. You want to be able to have him out there. Now Joey Gallo has done a really good job in his absence, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. But listen, not the month exactly that the Rangers wanted to have, but Jeff Bannister talked about 2015. That was the worst April. They came back in a big way, and they certainly believe that they're capable of doing that again. They're getting great starting pitching. The bullpen's starting to get sorted out. Offense has been pretty good on this homestand, so there's certainly some positive signs and some things to point to as you see now Mike Napoli pinch hitting for Ryan Rula.
Now 148 average for Napoli, and that has been a source of some frustration for him. 3 homers, 9 RBIs, has always swung it very well against the Angels. Oh, 0-2. Norris going for a 4-out save today for the Angels. His first 3 outs have all been via the strikeout. And you can make it 4. He strikes out Napoli, and that will do it. The end of the potential rally for the Rangers, and they fall short today. 5-2 our final score. And the Angels take 2 of 3 in this series. Stay with us. John Radigan, Bud Rodriguez, Mark McLemore. They're just up around the corner. A lot of player reaction and analysis from this one today. For CJ Nitkowski, Emily Jones, and our entire crew, I'm Dave Raymond, inviting you to stay with us. Our coverage of today's game continues right after this.